You can see my screen as well. Nice. So a better appreciation for strategic case study can be achieved by paying attention to the following. First of all, learn to acquaint yourself with the business world and the news around the world. Reading newspapers, okay? Having business acumen is the reason why you have to do this. When we talk about business acumen, what we mean is that you should be able to, have knowledge about business and business issues. Why is that so? Because every organization that they bring is typically a business, and you are a corporate analyst. That's the role you play here. Not just an accountant, but a business analyst, right? You are able to what? Do strategic position analysis, strategic choices, take from options, choose from them, not so, and evaluate and implement them. So that is your main role in this paper, right? So you are just not a financial person, but you play the role of a whole business analyst. Now, you must understand different organizational contexts. So it depends on the kind of entity that they are going to give you in the exam, right? So is it coming as a business enterprise? Is it a public sector organization? Is it a small and medium-sized entity? Is it an NFP, not-for-profit organization, churches, multinational entities? Are you getting it? So you must know, and from all your knowledge from the university and through ICA, you have been familiarized with all these kind of different organizations, from FR, from FM, from business management, down from level 1 to level 3. You've had encounters with these such organizations before. You know their role, you know how they work, right? Management accounting, you look at performance for not-for-profit organizations. So all these organizations, you must have an idea, at least basic idea about how they operate. Now, I realize that a lot of students just focus on the pre-scene, right? And because you just focus on the pre-scene, other relevant things you are supposed to have learned, you do not learn it, which is a bad strategy. Do you get the idea? So what are the things we need to do? Yes. So you ask yourself, okay, with this pre-scene that has come, the organization in question, where will we place it? Looking at all this, where will we place what they've brought? That's what you need to ask yourself. Which one? Which one? Just put it in the chat session for me. The organization they brought, where will it fall? Business enterprise. Yeah. Nice. That's true. It's real estate, but which category of business do we put real estate? Now, one thing you must know is that case study, with case study, there's no shortcut. What did I say? Case study, there's no shortcut. It means that you cannot learn part of the syllabus and expect to pass. You must cover every single material. So somebody may ask how. You take advantage of the pre-scene to cover the material. And this is the reason why you must cover the entire syllabus. To increase your ability to effectively tackle case study and scenario questions, which examine your knowledge, understanding, and application of majority of the issues in solving business problems. Now, you must know the structure of your exam so that you know how you prepare. When you look at the whole context of your exam, the major parts cover strategic management issues. The next part covers business plans. So what do we see in an actual business plan? An actual business plan covers areas like the nature of your business, functional strategies, risk management, implementation plans, and performance. All these areas fall under business plans. So things like HR strategies, IT strategies, procurement, marketing, organizational structure, culture, change, right? All of them are under business plan. Though they are part of strategic management issues, the business plan encompasses both strategic, financial, and other issues. And it's a big area of your syllabus. And this is where students have been failing. When you look at the case study itself, these are where students usually get questions and they fumble, right? So the two major areas that students usually have a problem are these areas. Do you know why? Because corporate governance, for instance, and ethics are so broad that you have learned, all right, you go and the question they throw for you have no idea. Meanwhile, it was so obvious. You didn't know that is what they are bringing. Yes, that's how it takes you by surprise. So what do? You must first look at some things and know how the exam itself is structured, right? Now, risk and risk management features as part of your exam every day, whether you like it or not, right? So risk and risk management should not be a new concept to you because you did it at the lower levels. Now, the way it is examined in the strategic case study, however, is unlikely to be the same as you have faced in your previous exams, right? Every decision that you make or action that you take by the particular organization in question will involve a degree of risk. And one thing about real estate, like the way real estate has come, you should be happy because real estate companies have a lot of risk, right? For instance, sometimes there's a liquidity risk. You are building houses for people. You are designing houses for people, right? At the end of the day, do you have enough cash flow? Because, you know, those people can build. It takes a long time before they recoup their return on investment. It's a risk. Moreover, things like reputational risk, the press, bad press, publicity, all those things are there. They are all risks, right? And you must know that risks also will trigger strategic change. So anytime you have such organizations, you must have knowledge about the organization in general that, okay, this organization that they've given me, these are the kind of risk I'm going to face. But the same way, so far as there's a risk, the organization might try to what? Curb that risk by changing. So there are some triggers of change. Trends will be changing. It's a trigger of change. Things will be happening. I hope you are all following. So in strategic case study, most of the time, you are in the exam, it's either you're identifying a risk or you are controlling the risk. And controlling also includes evaluation and analysis. So anytime they're going to examine something on risk management, it's either you are identifying a particular risk or you are controlling that risk by first evaluating it. Every case study exam in the world, that's how risk is examined. So if you are a very smart student, you know how to organize yourself. If we say risk, it does not necessarily mean it's a bad thing, okay? Risks can also be a good thing. So some risks must occur for the organization to have what a competitive edge over its competitors. For instance, some kind of risk may pose a barrier of entry to a particular industry, which means that people who face such risks cannot enter that industry, right? Yes. So regulatory risks may be what? An issue for some competitors not to enter or threat of new entrants to be on the loop. Understand this one. Okay. Now, the exposure to risk and the impact is likely to have on an organization and the extent to which the risk appetite of the organization will allow them to accept such a risk should be kept in mind for any analysis you ask to undertake. Yes, very important. So if you have a director who is a risk taker, the person takes a lot of risk. And then you have shareholders who are risk averse. They don't like risk. And this guy sees a potential investment, which is what? Very volatile. The person will want to take it, but the shareholders might not take it. You are not supposed to impose your risk appetite on your shareholders if they are not willing to take it. Are we okay? So in simple terms, when we are talking about risk in general, the risk appetite that somebody has depends on two things: his attitude, okay, his attitude and his capacity. So if I say today I have appetite for food, today I have appetite for food, it means that I like food and I can take more food, right? I have the capacity to take more. So first of all, I have the attitude to take food and I have the capacity to take what? More food. So that is your appetite, right? Now, every organization must be able to what? Embed risk into the organizational culture and structure. Risk is very important as it features every time as part of your exam. Risk is there every time. If you like, go and check all the strategic management papers. Both when it was corporate strategy, ethics, and governance, and now that it's a strategic study, it was there some way, somehow. And risk comes in different forms, which you have to try to understand, right? Okay. Now, you must be able to make comments about inherent risks that is associated with a particular decision that you are taking in a case study and linking this with the information in the particular case. Now, why am I talking about this thing? It is very important as students do not know how to answer questions in cases. Even if they ask you a theory-related question, you must be able to link that theory-related question to the particular case study. Okay, so I am going to level up some things and then you see how we apply this in the exam context. If you have any question, you can post it for me. Who has any question? I'm trying to find a particular document, but let me see if I can find it. Sorry. Oh, okay. Coming to show you something. I'm trying to open it. So there are three types of questions that you will face in your case study exam. Okay. Always, I keep telling people, the first type of question you are going to face is what we call answer in the scenario type of questions. With this kind of questions, the answer is always in the scenario. For instance, if I ask you to do a pestle analysis, right? Most of the time, the answer is already in the scenario. So with this one, you can pick and add something small to it by explaining, right? The second type of questions you mostly get are what we call, what do you think kind of questions. Now, with this kind of questions, it's mostly a suggestion type of question. Okay, what do you think this person is doing? So the question will be like recommend, suggest, okay? Meaning that something has happened and they want you to give your opinion. And these are the kind of questions that they want students to express themselves. Yet students do not do that, which is a problem, right? The third type of questions are knowledge type of questions. With knowledge type of questions, what you do is that they have given you the knowledge, okay, or theory, and then you have to talk about it. And the thing with knowledge questions is that they are the killers in case study. Because if you do not know, you do not know, right? If you don't know, you don't know. You go, then they ask you about Rosabeth Moscanta on change adept management skills. If you do not know, you do not know. You get it. So that is why there's no shortcut. So there are three questions. Know the type of question they are asking you and how to approach it. That is one of the issues that also account for why people are failing so much in strategic case study, right? You do not know how to answer questions, especially the case-related ones. Even if you're asked theory, you should still relate it to the question. So if I tell you, tell us why the OECD principles of corporate governance are important, you do not just jump to the importance of OECD principles just like that. You must still relate it to the organization in question, right? That, okay, it brings uniformity. Then you say it brings uniformity in reporting for organizations, I get it, such as, then you give the organization in question. This is because, then you explain a little, right? Just use your little English. Remember, that is very important, okay? Now, do not forget. So it depends on the kind of question that comes, however. There are particular issues that you can what? You can use to identify or use to, determine or answer questions. And there are so many models. I will put down some models for you to know how you can apply some rules, okay, when you get a case. Those are the first things we are going to talk about. So we'll look at how to apply those same concepts to PESTEL, to 5 forces, to environmental analysis, right? Those are the W's, okay? You have the W approach or the question approach. So you ask yourself, what has happened? Why has it happened? When did it happen? Or how did it happen? And so what? Okay, so what? What is the implication of what has happened? This is also another issue that you can always consider when you are answering questions. It's very, very, very important. Okay, answering this type of questions can help you know what is really significant to the particular issue at hand. And you see, the best way you can answer questions in strategic case studies, mostly to segregate your points into financial and non-financial information. Because the main theme of case study is what? To help students use financial and non-financial information to take decisions. Okay, so that is one thing you must understand. If you understand this, then you do not have what? A problem. Okay. Any question for me? So these are the little issues. Did you get what I put across? Give me a thumbs up. It's because of the noise. That's why I've muted people. It's supposed to be a forum so that people can talk, but people will be unmuting and there's noise on their background. I do not like that. And I don't also like a quiet class. It seems so quiet. Yes. Any question? Yes, it's because I've not shared my screen yet. I'm compiling information. That's why I'm engaging you. Okay, so I'm compiling information for you regarding how to use the things I'm talking about to answer a particular case. Okay, how to identify SWOTs, how to identify issues in a particular scenario using the models I was just talking about. Let me finish compiling right now, and then we can get on. So we can still use our what's, why, how, or when that happened. So what is the implication of what has happened? Okay, so when you are trying to evaluate SWOT, the same issues can be identified in a scenario. So just give me some small time and let me finish up with this, and then we can set on our journey, right? Yeah. I'll be coming to answering case studies. I think some people are asking questions. So there are 3 types of questions. Answering the scenario. What do you think? Or suggestion type of questions, and knowledge. Those are the type of questions that you get in strategic case study. And even advanced audit. Any paper that involves cases. These are the 3 types of questions that they can ask you. It doesn't only apply to strategic case study. Advanced audit too is the same. And the advanced audit is also the same. The same rules apply. Okay. So it's the same. Same climate. Yeah, Andy. You can unmute and talk, eh?
Yes, I think those I sent the link to, some of them are saying that they said the capacity is full and they're unable to join. So I'm asking if there's a way you can extend the numbers.
For Zoom, there's a way you can extend, but now they said they have capacity limitation. Unless you are going with enterprise approach, which that one, you need like 10 Zoom licenses. So they should keep trying.
Okay.
Because the video will still be shared, so.
Okay.
But they should keep trying.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And then those here, if your network is not
somebody will take your place.
someone will come and replace you. Okay.
That's fine. Okay. So now I think I can share my screen. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Okay. Please, I'll be unmuting. I don't want any noise. Otherwise, I'll unmute again, right? So now you can unmute yourself and ask any question you want to ask.
Prof, can I talk?
Yes, please, you can.
Okay. So I think the 100 capacity has been reached. So those that are on the platform that are not on the intervention platform, please, we are starting our intervention this week. In fact, today is our first day for intervention. So if you are not on the intervention, please, I've put a number on the chat to everyone. So you can call the number and then register and be part of the intervention. And trust me, you will make it in Jesus' name. All right, let me leave for someone to get my spots.
Sure. So the very first technique or the very first model you have to know to be able to answer cases is the P approach. This is where when you take every point, okay, you can what? Use this approach to what? Effectively structure and support your answers in case study. What do we mean? It means that anytime you are stuck, okay, though you know the thing from the case, okay, you can use P and it works magic for any case study. It doesn't matter the paper, but for case study, it will help you a lot, right? What does P mean? Your point, your explanation and evidence from the case. So let's say if I'm doing pestle, right? And I take, let's say, maybe destruction of water bodies. That is my point. What does it mean? Okay, you could say that this means this. It is under maybe economic or maybe it's under socio-cultural issue, not so. And from the case, this is what is happening and this is what you think, right? You get the idea. So for instance, if there's a question like, how can company X improve its market share in the smartphone industry? What is the point? It can improve its market share by introducing innovative features and enhancing its marketing strategy. Explanation. It doesn't mean you write. These are just questions or pointers you put in your head, but you put it together as a full point, right? So according to marketing theory, product innovation and effective promotion are key drivers of market growth. By introducing unique features that address customer needs and preferences, company X can differentiate its smartphones from competitors and attract new customers. Moreover, investing in target marketing campaigns and strategic partnerships can increase brand awareness and market penetration. Evidence from the case. In the case, you mentioned that company X has what? Maybe a strong R&D or something, right? Additionally, this highlights that because of this, this can be done. So look at this well. Anytime you are stuck, you don't know what to do, it doesn't matter. You can even take a whole sentence, right? And use it to be your point. And then tell us how it matters to the organization. Anytime you're answering a case study, this is what the examiner wants from you. The significance of the matter at hand, the significance of the issue you have identified, right? That is what the examiner is looking for. Let's take a typical example. Okay, so for instance, you come to the pre-scene that you were given, right? I'm not looking at anything, but let's say you are here, right? And it says newspaper allegations in the West African country. Then it said, while considering formation of a joint venture with a new partner in the neighboring West African country, Prestige was pleased to hear that Zebra, one of its prospective joint venture partners, has won a contract to build a medium-sized development of what, some 50 houses on a favorable site in the suburbs of a major city in that country. What is the impact to the particular organization? That is what you are looking at, right? It has subsequently discovered that the contract won by Zebra has been achieved through a series of secret payments. Why secret payments? So once you identify this, you can use this whole sentence, right? This whole sentence as a whole point you want to talk about. Point. That is it. Secret payment, right? To win a contract. Then what? Explanation. You explain why secret payments can be a potential ethical issue, right? Then what is the next? Evidence from the case. Then you talk about it. You see the style. So point, explanation, they give evidence from the case. Point, explanation, they give evidence from the case. You are supposed to do a SWOT analysis. You can start and explain what SWOT means. Then you start taking evidence from the case. That from the case, these are the strengths of the organization. These are the weaknesses. These are the opportunities. These are the threats. Do a value chain analysis. If I point, inbound logistics, what is it? The sourcing of raw materials, not so storage of raw materials, quality control and other things, right? You've explained. They say from the case or evidence from the case includes, right? The sourcing of raw materials from supplies like wood, carpentry materials, paints and other things from what? Its suppliers. This will constitute inbound logistics. So if you have noticed the style, I start by talking about the main heading, then I take the issue, I give theory about it. That's the explanation. Then from there, what do? I now take evidence from the case. So anytime you are using any model, when you apply this approach, you do not have any problem whatsoever with a particular question that they are asking you. You should be fine. This is how we answer cases. Even when your examiners are setting your questions, it's the same approach they use to draft their marking scheme, right? So if you answer questions like that, trust me, you will be fine. And when I say you will be fine, it means you will be fine. You should know how to answer questions. That's one of the major problems that students have, right? So you see how I took it. You take a particular issue. It doesn't mean you have to point the heading. You get it? Even if you are not able to point the heading, you can, if you are not the type who can read draft sentences, don't worry. You can pick the whole sentence and use it as a point and explain, underline it nicely and explain in your own words. They want to see your opinions. That is what most of you do not do. You write the paper as if you are writing a comprehension. No, that's not what you are supposed to do. When we say something is in a case, it doesn't mean pick it verbatim and write the same thing. No, you can pick it as a point and write about it based on your opinion. I hope that makes sense. Is that okay? Hello, did we get the first model?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So P, are we okay with P? Point, explanation, and what? Evidence. Okay. Now, the next model I want us to talk about is the IWA approach. Now, IWA will work mostly for where the case has told you to identify risks, or it has told you to identify some particular ethical issues, okay? So this one works mostly for ethical issues or risks or something that has some sort of issue in the case, right? So this is another effective method for structuring your answer in a case study. So you use IWA. What is the issue? Why is it an issue? And the action. So first of all, you take No, this thing, it doesn't mean when you are writing it in exam, you have to write issue, why, and action. No. In your mind, you have this IWA there. So what is the issue? You must identify and state the main issue or problem presented in the case study question. Why? Explain why the issue is what significant or why it needs to be what addressed. Then you provide a reasoning or rationale behind the importance of resolving that issue. Are we okay? Then the third is the action. This is where you propose specific actions or strategies to identify the issue at hand. Okay, your action should be practical, feasible, and directly address the underlying problem. So let me give you a typical example, right? So let's say Kofi was employed, right? Kofi was employed as what? As a new accountant in a firm, right? He was employed as a new accountant in a firm, no experience, was employed by his uncle, okay? He was employed by his uncle. And when he joined, this was his first ever company, right? First ever company, not so. And then what happened was that a finance lease asset was acquired, right? A finance lease asset was acquired, not so. And because he didn't want the company was going for finance. And because of that, Kofi he didn't show the liability on the financial statement. He rather captured the finance lease as an operating lease, right? Or a low value lease on the financial statement. And they ask you that, what are the ethical issues in the scenario? Okay. So you could say the issue is that Kofi is a fresh accountant with no experience, right? That is the main issue. And what is the main problem? There's an accounting issue. How could you present what? How could you present what? A finance lease as an operating lease? It means something is here. It's either you are incompetent or you intentionally did it, right? Because you want to gain some sort of favor from your uncle or you want the organization to like you. Also, it could be because of management pressure. Because he's a fresher, he has no experience, management may be pressuring him. So you see, we identified the issue, then we talked about the why this happened, right? And why this happened is what we call the threat. So in every ethical scenario, no matter where you see it, IWA works magic. Now, when you see ethics, right, we know that ethics is made up of ethical principles, right? Professional behavior, integrity, confidentiality, competence, and duty and objectivity. Any case that you get, be it audit, case study, tax, or whatever, it is either these principles have been breached, right? And to breach it means somebody might have done something wrong. So anytime you get a case on ethics, the question is what is wrong, right? It may be a particular accounting or non-accounting issue, okay? So if it is accounting related, you ask yourself, okay, what did the client do wrong? What does the IAS or the accounting principles actually say, okay? So if the person's own does not agree with what the IAS says, that means the person has done something wrong. And anytime something is wrong, it could be that the thing is intentional or what? Unintentional. Anytime something is intentional, it means that, that you did it intentionally, intent to fraud. And anytime somebody does something intentionally, it is either the person does not have integrity. So the person does not have integrity. It means he's concealing or hiding something. Not being honest. He furnished information recklessly, was associated with what? Reckless information or misleading information. Or the person is not objective. The person is being biased because he's enjoying something. Now, if somebody does something intentionally, his integrity or objectivity will be breached. And why would it be breached? It's because of some issues that will make him breach. And these are the threats, right? So if this guy decided to change finance lease to operating lease or to do this because of something, then it means he's not being objective or he's not being honest. And he not being honest means is either he has management pressure. Management is giving him pressure to do that. Remember, if you do something intentionally, it could be that there's somebody behind you as well, right? 2, it could be that he's just promoting or supporting this organization because they've given him employment, advocacy. It could be because what? Of some bonuses he was promised if the company can raise finance, self-interest, right? Or because he feels like he can be promoted. It could be that this guy does not see what has been done, right? What has been done, right? Maybe his uncle did it and submitted it to him, or he was the one who did the recording and assessing of the finance lease. So he didn't know how to record it, meaning he will end up checking his own work. and you cannot spot errors in your own work. Also, it could be because they are putting pressure on him, as I said earlier, or they are threatening him, putting him under stress, duress, right? That is one thing that can happen. Also, because he may be familiar with his uncle or familiar with the processes, he may not work well. So you see, this is the why. So anytime something is wrong, it's either the person did it intentionally or he did it unintentionally. When you do it intentionally, you are breaching integrity and objectivity. When you do it unintentionally, it means you didn't know. So you are breaching what? Competence. It means you weren't competent enough, or you didn't exercise reasonable care or due care in doing the work. That's why you made a mistake. When or you didn't know, right? Those are the two things that can make anything go wrong unintentionally. So when somebody is not competent, it means that he didn't either have enough resources to do that thing well, or he didn't have enough time to do that thing well, or he didn't have enough information to do that thing well. And this is what could make somebody what? Breach competence and due care. RTI, or you can use RIT. Lack of resources, lack of time, lack of information. These are the issues that can make somebody what? Breach competence and due care. So once you have been able to talk about these things, if it has to do with something somebody should have said he didn't say, then it has to do with confidentiality. And you can only disclose confidential information if you have received what? Notification or permission from the client, or it is of public interest to do so, or you have the legal and professional right to do so. These are voluntary mechanisms for you to disclose information. However, if it is mandatory or compulsory, that means that the court has offered you, okay, the court has ordered you to come and disclose that information. The client is involved in money laundering, drug trafficking, sex trade, terrorism, treason, are you getting criminal activity, tax evasion? These are the things that it is compulsory for you to disclose. So if you get any ethical scenario, a breach in any of these will end up breaching professional behavior, because professional behavior means what? Not doing anything to discredit the profession, right? And you always end up by what? Talking about the consequences of unethical behavior, that if this person acts this way, these are the consequences he's going to face. So those are the whys, which I explained, right? The action is what we call the safeguard. Okay, so if you are doing risk, this case, it will not be it could be a safeguard against the risk, right? The same thing, it could be a risk control or risk management measure, like using TARA. Okay, you can transfer the risk, you can accept the risk for what it is, you can what? Reduce the risk to an acceptable level, or you can what? Avoid the risk altogether. So when it comes to risk management, you are doing something like risk management. So IWA is mostly good for ethics. Okay, things around ethics, maybe financial management where there's a particular financial issue, or maybe risk, right? When it's risk, first of all, we could what? We can identify the issue, the particular risk. Why is there a risk to the organization, and what? The action that can be taken. You can even use it in change management, right? So what is the trigger of change? Why is it a trigger of change? What action can be done to implement that change? So everything, you can just put it within this model and it will work magic for you, okay? So for instance, if I'm looking at TARA, I'm saying that, okay, I can be able to transfer the risk. How do I do that? Insurance, I can accept the risk for what it is. I can reduce the risk to an acceptable level by what? Implementing internal controls, training and retraining my staff, and also doing know your client procedures and stuff like that. I can avoid the risk if it has high probability and high impact. The same way, if I cannot use TARA, I can use the 40 approach, which is captured under ISO 31000, okay? So if you cannot transfer the risk, you tolerate the risk, right? If you cannot tolerate the risk, you treat the risk. If you cannot treat the risk, you terminate the risk, right? So it's the same thing as TARA, but it uses the 40 approach. So these are all actions. However, when it comes to ethics, you are looking at safeguards, and anytime they ask you safeguards, especially for corporate reporting, okay, think very well, because now your scenarios are very practical, okay? So safeguards are in three folds. We have safeguards that are provided by the profession itself. So as ICA itself provides safeguards. That is why you need to pass the exam before you can practice. It's a safeguard. That is why you need to pay membership fees. You need to be a member to practice, right? You need to do professional service before you practice. They are all safeguards. They are CPDs, credit hours. They are all safeguards, right? To ensure you become competent. 2, there are safeguards provided in the work environment, the environment where the person works. There are safeguards there. It means that there should be appropriate controls. There should be an audit committee. There should be proper corporate governance. right? There should be internal audit. There should be what? Good information systems. There should be management attitude towards controls. There should be information systems. There should be risk assessment in an organization. There should be control procedures. These are all safeguards provided by the work environment. Then we have safeguards for each individual assignment, right? So safeguards provided on each individual assignment as well. Let's say if you own shares in the client, you can withdraw. You can rotate audit team, right? You can use Chinese wall principle, meaning you use 2 separate audit teams for competitors. The same way on an individual assignment, you can ensure appropriate review, appropriate control, appropriate supervision of the work to ensure that there are no risks or there are no conflicts of interest, right? So you see, issue, why, and action works magic as well. I hope you understood it. You see how they fit into other topics?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So the thing is that most of the time you find case study difficult because you do not know how to approach questions that come. Adelaide. Adelaide. So how many models for answering cases have we seen so far? How many models have we seen?
Yes,
Two. What are they?
Iowa. The P and the Iowa.
P and Iowa. Nice. Okay. So let's look at the last one, which is what, why, when, or how, and so what. This one works mostly. You can use this for ratio analysis. But one thing you must understand is that PESTEL, 5 forces, internal and external analysis, and ratios are the same thing. People tend to separate financial information from the non-financial ones, but there's no financial information that does not have non-financial interpretation. So look, one thing you must understand is that when you have financial statements, right? You have revenue, you have expenses, you have all those things, right? If you are doing PESTEL, you are saying, okay, economic factors, right? Inflation has what? Inflation has increased by 10%, right? If inflation has increased by 10%, we all agree that this is an economic factor, true or false?
true, sir.
Yes. But the thing is, if it is an economic factor, how does it impact the financial statement of the organization? You are saying it's an economic factor. Yes, we know. But how does it impact the what? The organization. So look, what has happened? That is how you do PESTEL. So let's say I'm doing PESTEL, then I write economic factors, right? Economic factors. So I've identified economic factor. Then one, I say what? Inflation has seen an increase by what? Increase of inflation by what? 10% during the period. Okay. We are dealing with prestige what? Prestige designers, right? No, so you say what? In the economic environment of prestige designers, inflation seems to have what? Increased by what? 10%. Is that not so? So that is what has happened. Why has inflation increased, right? Do you get it? Why has inflation increased? Inflation has increased because of what? Maybe the depreciation of the cedi against the dollar based on the information in the case, right? When did that happen? It happened mid-year. Or how did that happen? Because of this, right? Then so what? So sometimes how or when is not really necessary. By telling us the why and so what. So what is the implication or the evaluation? So what is the implication? When we say implication, you are an accountant. So you are looking at the impact on cost, the impact of revenues, the impact on cash flows, the impact on profits, right? So you are going to say increase in inflation by 10% is going to increase operating costs of the company. True or false? Thereby reducing what? Then you go and calculate some ratios. Maybe gross profit margin has reduced by what? 10%. Or gross profit margin was 20%, now it's 5%, right? And this might be due to what? The reduction in gross profit, or this has led to what? The reduction in gross profit from what? 20% to 5%, signifying that for every 1 cedi sale the company makes, it generated 20% last year, but now it generates 5 pesos. And this is because inflation has shot up. This, therefore, constitutes a threat on the company's ability to achieve its objectives. Do you think when you write this, somebody is going to fail you? Please give me a yes or a no. You see how they relate. Even if you do not have financial information, you should be able to tie your environmental analysis to the financials. Because that is what, as an accountant, why are we interested in strengths and weaknesses? Why are we interested in opportunities and threats? To see how it impacts on our financial information. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So what has happened? Why does it matter? Not so. So what is the implication on the organization? These are the rules you need to put in mind. If you have this, trust me, I don't think there will be any practical question in a case study that you are going to find difficult. Does that make sense? So what has happened? Why does it matter? What is the implication on the particular organization? Do you get it?
Yeah.
So always the so what is that? What is the impact on your costs, right? Your revenues, your objectives, your profits, your cash flows, your market share, anything that has an impact on you, you must tell us. If it's external, you must tell us whether it is what? It is a threat or it is an opportunity. Not so. If it is internal, whether it ends up in a strength or it ends up in a weakness. Okay, this is how we do proper analysis of strategic information. Are we okay? So the same thing, you can use Iowa or you can use P. It works. Okay. So if you, let's say you are doing a pestle analysis, right? You can identify the what, you can identify the political, economic, and all that, right? You can understand the impact of each factor on the business operation, market trend, regulatory compliance, how or when did it happen? So you can determine how changes in each factor can what? Influence the particular organization and when they are likely to occur. Also, and what are the opportunities and threats presented by each factor, as I was telling you, right? So this is where you can develop strategies. This is like the action part, right? So you talk about the implications and then you can give actions. If you are looking at 5 forces the same way, for instance, what is happening, like the bargaining power of customers or the bargaining power of suppliers, right? How does it shape industry competition or profitability in question, right? How or when? If this force change, what can happen? How did it happen? When did it happen? Maybe there were no regulatory barriers, right? Somewhere along the year, government brought a new policy to change the way customers buy real estate. For instance, in Ghana, you need to partner with the government of Ghana, right? So if you have this, it means that you can get some sort of what exemption. So for the next 5 years, you pay what? 5% tax. Now, this thing may have changed during the year and you need to say it. And now, so what? You look at the implication on each force. Are you getting it? So you are saying bargaining power of customers have gone high. Fine. If bargaining power of customers go high, what is the implication on the organization? It means that customers will now dictate prices for you, meaning your prices, your costs are going to increase, right? Discount is a cost, meaning revenue is going to fall, right? It will end up becoming a threat to you. If bargaining power of customers go down, it means it's an opportunity to you, right? So this is how I want you to be answering questions, tying it together with the numbers, right? Tying it together with the numbers. And trust me, when you answer questions this way, you get the full mark that is allocated. Makes sense? So we can still use the why, what, why, how, or when, and the so what to do SWOT, right? So if you are doing SWOT, you can, for instance, identify what? The internal factors, strengths and weaknesses, and the external factors, not so relevant to the organization. Why? You understand why each factor is considered as a strength, weakness, opportunity, or threat. Then you assess the impact on the organization's performance, competitiveness, and strategic positioning. How or when is how each factor contributes to your current position. So this is how you are looking at how it ties in with your revenue, your profits, and all that. Then you tell us whether it's an opportunity, a threat, a weakness, right? Then you tell us the implication overall, right? How does it affect your ability to achieve your objective and navigate your environment? So this is the models that I wanted you to stick to when you're answering questions. The question should be in your head, though. However, you can brainstorm at the back of your answer sheet and write some few points to see how you can organize your points very well. Very, very important. And you do not need to write so much. That is also one thing. If you clank up, a lot of students, when they write answers, they put all a chunk in one long paragraph, 1 point, then the person will write some long paragraph which takes like 11, 12 lines. So bad. Who will get time to read that? And moreover, your handwriting is also good. Who will get time to read that? There's no spacing. Your handwriting should be spaced out. And be using bullet points. It is good you use bullet points rather than a paragraph. So each sentence, put it in a bullet point and structure it nicely. So your paragraph looks like a list of bullets. And it looks very interesting. Did we listen? Did we hear what I was saying?
Yeah.
So this is the end of our first session on how to tackle cases using particular models that help you to answer cases. If you have any question, you can ask me before we move to the excelling in the strategic case study exam. Yes, please. Question time. Question time.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, boss.
Please, so when are we having the main intervention class?
No, no.
Main
So
intervention.
the main one.
Main intervention starts this weekend.
Oh, okay, okay.
This is
Alright.
also an intervention.
This one is a pre-intervention.
It is still intervention. It's just the free part.
Oh, okay.
This is the
But
intervention.
because I'm thinking maybe the main one we have to go through the prison and then we'll analyze
Don't
it
worry
and then we'll
about.
come up
See,
with the
let me
issues.
tell
Yeah.
you. Don't worry about
Not
the
a
precinct.
beginning.
You don't need a precinct to pass your paper. You need to
Okay.
understand case study. Look at the trend now. If you do not understand case study, even if you have control over the precinct, you will fail. Because there are specific issues. Remember, there are 3 types of questions. Okay, let me ask you. I gave you 3 major types of questions. What are they? What are the 3
we
major
have
questions that can be asked?
Knowledge base.
Uh-huh.
What do you think?
I gave you 3 major types of questions that can be asked in the case study exam.
Scenario based.
What do you think?
What do you think type of question? Uh-huh.
The knowledge base.
Knowledge base. Uh-huh. And then answer in scenario, right? Okay. Let's say you have complete control over the case study. You know everything they can ask you, right? You have control over the case study. And they go and ask you a theory you have never read, or the whole questions that came were relating to theory. How are you going to pass? You have read about corporate governance. All right. You go and they go and ask you about criticisms of the corporate governance model for IFAC. Though you know about it, something is lacking. You have to think, right? This is one technique I want you to build. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And that's the main, that is what I realize that a lot of students are not doing, and that's why they are failing. A lot of students go to the exam with complete control over the case, the pre-scene, right? But 1, their handwritings are not good. 2, they write long paragraphs. 3, they do not manage their time appropriately. 4, they only have the surface knowledge of what they know. So when they go and they ask you, or when they go and they ask them some particular questions, though they know, they do not know what to write. Some people are very smart, but when it comes to writing answers, they do not know how to organize their points. Are they like, these are the things that are killing people in strategic case study. If it is not true, tell me it is not true. If it is true, to tell me, is it not true?
It is true.
It's true.
Yes, it's because most people took exemptions from level 1. And this is what is killing them. And most people did not also get the opportunity to write the old level 2. So it is also killing them. Anyway, let's see how we can help you. Is that okay? Okay. So the knowledge-based questions are what are killing students, right? You go, you're expecting PESTEL to come as practical. Okay, not PESTEL about theory. Then you are stuck. You do not know what to write. Okay, let's see. Now, when you
So what do you
consider-
mean by theory and practical?
Okay, this is what I mean. If you go to the exam and they ask you, apply PESTEL or apply or analyze the macro environment of the company, it means dive into the case, look for all the issues relating to macro environment, tell us why they matter to the organization, their significance, whether they end up in an opportunity or threat, right? That is practical. Theory, they ask you to tell us PESTEL and analyze the criticisms or criticize the model. This is theory, right? Because you didn't apply it to any scenario. Do you get the difference now? Do you get the
Perfect. Thank
difference?
you very much. Perfect. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So if you are passing this paper, you
Bill,
must.
please, one question.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir.
Yes, boss.
Please, I want to find out.
Uh-huh.
So the knowledge-based questions, what percentage does it constitute?
It could be 100%. It could be 100%.
Knowledge-based.
Of course, it could be 100% of the paper. You could go and from question 1 to question 8 is all theory. There's no one practical question.
Wow.
Yes.
But the case study is practical.
It is practical, but it still has knowledge. Read the syllabus. You have to know
Okay.
first
The
before
root
you.
is
No,
okay.
don't we have to know first before we apply?
Yeah, exactly.
So what if I decide to test you or to examine you on the knowing and not the application? Am I wrong? Please answer me.
You are not wrong.
I'm
You're
not
not
wrong,
wrong.
right? You have to know before you apply. So, okay, if I've decided not to go application and I come with knowledge, does it mean you cannot answer? And that is what is killing you. You do not look at the knowledge because you're all about the practical pay. They go together. And you cannot look at only the knowledge without the practical too. Application of knowledge is wisdom, right? It's not unpredictable. No,
Sure.
ICA has never been unpredictable. Don't try to predict. That is the thing. Stop the prediction and learn. The time you are using to predict, you could have learned something else. Don't predict. Know what is required. At least, see, let me tell you, no matter what, there are some areas that Uchi Umutai ICA will ever, forever and ever always bring. Those are the areas that you build your strengths in. There's no way you go to the exam without anything around organizational culture, structure, change management. You know, those things, they are conk. Every organization, those things are conk. Functional strategies. A student is going to sit the case study exam. He hasn't read anything on HR before, has no idea about HR, has no idea about R&D, has no idea about culture, has no idea about Mintzberg structure. These things were done at level 1. So imagine you not having knowledge about them, how it pisses the examiners off. It really does piss them off because we did it at level 1. And you taking exemptions means that you have learned them already. That's what exemptions mean. But Obia Pesoji exemption, on Konechin share the courses that were done before. A whole student who sits case study that has no idea about BCG matrix, has no idea about balance scorecard, and you want to pass. These things were done at level 1, and you are in level 3. And you say you want to pass.
Let's go.
You know, some people have failed because they pissed the examiner off. It's not because like they didn't know. That's why some people fail with some small, you see the mark, then you a whole 100 mark paper, no when you're 7%. How disheartening. 7 over 100. That means you didn't do anything. You did, but you were not giving them what they want. Sometimes your answers are just not inadequate. I'm telling you the truth. Why people are failing is not the knowledge. Everybody is intelligent. It's inadequate. Your answers are inadequate. So please start writing adequate answers and learn stop learning. It's like Obia focus for financials. So hey, risk is difficult too. Investment appraisal is difficult. But what about the areas that will give you your marks? Why are you not learning those areas? Stop focusing on the financials only. Or I'm not making a point.
You
You're making it.
You are.
Yes. So please stop focusing only on the financials and learn how to answer the questions, right? When you look at the breakdown of the syllabus, strategic issues cover more than half of your paper. So why not master your strategy, your ethics, your governance, and your risk management? If you know these things, even if financial management comes and you dodge the financial management, your chance of achieving your 50 marks is still guaranteed, right? So let's see something.
Bill, please, one question.
Yes,
You
please.
see the scenario you just gave about the knowledge based on the person and
Yeah.
like criticizing it.
Yeah.
Do you still, just as you mentioned earlier, have to find a way to relate it to the case?
Of course. Of course. Of course.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
strategic management. When we say strategic management, we mean what? Strategic position, strategic options and choice, and strategic implementation. Okay. This is what strategic management is about. 2, corporate governance. Corporate governance, the thing is funny. In the syllabus itself, the examiner tells you exactly what they'll be asking in your exam. How many people have been reading the case study syllabus? See, let's open the syllabus and let's see exactly what the examiner tells us. He tells us that these are the issues he will be asking. And you know, the ICA textbook is the same thing they use to set all your questions. They do not take any material from anywhere. See, if you open the book under the tutor tips, see what it says under corporate governance. It says, well, ensure you have knowledge of 1, best practices in relation to corporate governance. 2, the key roles of the chairman, the CEO, and the NEDs. 3, the committees of the board and their purpose. 4, remuneration of board members, disclosures relating to corporate governance, governance issues for NFPs, not-for-profit organizations. And if you like, go and look at the trending case study. All the questions that come are only around these areas. And it is true. How many people have read and noticed that these are the questions that they need to learn? And people, they go and the corporate governance question that comes, they have no idea what they are even asking them. It's funny. Any question? Pour out your sorrows. Any question? For those who have not written this paper before, you are welcome to pass once and for all. But those who have written it before too, I'm waiting for your questions. Before we dive in, let's see how we can excel. It's very important. Yes? Oh, Obiankaza.
Hello, sir.
Yes, boss.
Sir, please, is it always necessary that each of the questions you must relate it to the case?
Yes.
Yes, it is necessary that you must relate it to the case. And even give examples from your own life, your own organization. If you do that, you get something we call professional marks. Yes, Uncle Sam? Your hand is up. Uncle Sam, your hand is up.
So what about if you paraphrase from the case?
It's accepted, but you must paraphrase and add significance. I told you, we looked at models like Iowa, P, the what, why, and all that, right? But you must always tell us the significance. I told you the significance of the issue is important, right?
Okay.
Please, are we all on point?
Okay.
Are we all on point?
Okay.
Are we all on point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Are you sure?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the whole thing is that most of the time, once you are able to, identify the issues, you can summarize them and now think about the potential impact of the issue at hand to the particular scenario that they've given to you in the case study. Is that okay? So first, let's master the knowledge. You master the knowledge, application is no problem. Do you get it? But as you are mastering the knowledge, you must be learning to apply alongside. You do not learn only knowledge and later try to apply. It won't work for you. Do you get it? I think somebody's, Uncle Sam, your hand is up. I've been asking. No, everybody can unmute. Oh. Everybody can unmute. I've given everybody the opportunity to unmute. Yes, Uncle Sam, try and unmute and let's see. Can you unmute now? Try and let's see. You know, as now, some people have not even finished reading the case. Hey! Somebody will say, I'll start tomorrow. Meboa. Uncle Sam,
Sure.
Uncle Sam, can you unmute now or still? You are not able to.
How is that possible? Because if I am able to unmute, I think it should be same for everyone, no?
Yeah, it should be same. Should be same for everyone.
Maybe the problem is from his end.
Yes, his end. This is network. I think log off and log on again. I think that is what is causing the issue. Just log off. Hey, if you log off, you may not join again. You just type
again, then
you just type your this thing for me. Your question in the chat box. I will still answer you. Okay. So let's see something. Eh? I want us to play a small game. Okay. I want us to play a small game for the question that we were given. For instance, within the case, if they told you to do a pestle analysis, okay, I've just covered the issue. You are now going to tell me how it impacts the organization's performance, how is this going to change the revenues, the expenses, the profits, the cash flows, right? That is what we are looking for, right? So for instance, when we talk about the political environment, with the case that was given today, the Ghanaian government policies on urbanization, sustainability, and corporate governance impact prestigious operations and strategic decisions. This is the political environment, right? And these are the main issues that I identified. But the question is, what was happening and how does it impact the performance of the organization? That is what you must do to get your mark. 2, the regulatory environment, right? Which was still under political, like compliance with building regulations, the planning permissions, health and safety standards will be crucial for prestigious projects in Ghana and potential expansion into the other West African countries. Are you getting it? So this compliance comes with a cost. True or false? Won't compliance come with cost?
It's more.
So how, as an accountant, are you going to imbibe this into your personal analysis? You are going to say this will therefore increase the corporate cost or the cost of sales or the operating expenses of the company, right? And thereby, this can become a potential threat, right? But also, it may serve as a barrier of entry to potential entrants. True or false?
Yeah.
Yes, that's how you answer questions. It's like, yes, you have the knowledge, I know, but you being able to link them is what I'm concerned about. There were the economic issues like economic fluctuations, including recessions, banking crisis that affect what prestigious business performance and consumer demand for housing. How does it affect the financials? Interest rates, right? Access to funding at favorable interest rates will influence prestigious ability to finance projects and invest in what expansion initiatives, thereby increasing its profit potential. True or false? True. You get it? So you do not just end at what is in the case. Tell us the impact on the financials. With social, there was a demand for housing, changing demographics, urbanization trends, rising middle class income drive. I get it. For the demand for housing in Ghana and neighboring West African countries. There were health and safety concerns from the case, right? Incidents resulting in loss of lives, raised public awareness and expectations regarding health and safety standards in the construction industry. There were technological issues. There was environmental issues like sustainability practices, natural hazards. There was legal. You see, regulatory environment has also come here. So the thing is, it's not about where you put the issue. So somebody said, Prof, please, I want to know with respect to corporate governance, can questions be centered around not-for-profit making, even when the case does not relate to NGO? It depends. Okay, so it could be that the company has a contract with an NGO to build a facility, and then they ask you, in terms of its contract with the NGO, what are the potential maybe performance measurement difficulties regarding NGOs? You know, NGOs, they have a lot of objectives. It may be difficult to measure performance, okay? They have a lot of government interference. Because they are not profit-making, it is difficult to apply financial models, right? You look at all that and they measure performance using value for money, right? Economy, efficiency, effectiveness. So these are some of the things that definitely they'll be asking you around. Okay? And when it comes to corporate governance for NGOs, you know, NGOs mostly do not have board of directors. They have board of trustees, committees. Are you getting it? a body of persons and those things, they will definitely be asking you because they are not profit making. Their objectives are quite different. Yes, they can ask you, but mostly unless it's a public related or NGO question directly, that's the main. But it could be part of a sub question where you have a contract with those entities and they'll be asking you a question around them. Is that okay? So did you see how I was applying the models we learned? Any question? Okay. So if you have no question, let's go to the next phase. So the next phase in succeeding in your strategic case study exam is to adhere to the following guidelines. 1, understand the syllabus. Remember that case study questions are based on topics that are studied in the syllabus, and thus you must have a solid understanding of various topics covered in the course. It ensures that you can apply principles and concepts to practical problems that are presented in the case study. 2, application of knowledge to the requirement. ICA is requirement. Requirement. Okay, your mere knowledge alone is not sufficient, but being able to apply. That's why I said get the knowledge, right, and apply them. Okay, so relate concepts with the case. Relate concepts. So if you repeat concepts without relevance to the case, it will only give you few marks. But when you link it and then you tell us the implications on the organization, you get a lot of marks. Stick to the given facts. Answer case study questions based on the given facts. Okay? Do not import so much extraneous information into the question. So inferred facts, sometimes when you infer facts, it should be related to the industry, at least around the question that you are giving. Otherwise, it will be like you are deviating. It's good if you put in something like, in my opinion, or from what I've read, or from information that I had, right? This is telling that you have the experience, but not just dumping in something you did from your own research, which does not necessarily relate to the case, because the case is a simulation. It's not real. It's like a simulation of the original actual environment we live in, right? Remember this. Read the requirements first all the time. So before you go, you still go and see the pre-scene there, but you just dive 15 minutes reading time. You just go through requirements and check whether you still remember the issues being examined. Don't look at any case. So when you go, don't look at the case. Can I just dive to the questions? If they say, they give you the paper, only the questions, and try to brainstorm. Okay, which ones can I use P for? Okay, this one, what is it about? Okay, they said driving forces of change, restraining forces. What is that about? Okay, here they are asking about Porter's diamond in the West African analysis. How can I do this Porter's diamond? Here they are asking about risk, significant risk in the scenario. How can we manage and control this risk? How can I deal with this, right? They are asking about gearing. How can I do operating and financial gearing? Okay, so we are saying that with these issues at hand, how do you stick to the given facts? How do you read the requirements? Then you must consider the marks allocation. It's very important. So you look at the marks. If the marks is very low, very small, you are seeing, I know somebody, 4-mark question and he's writing 11 marks. He's writing 11 lines, 12 lines. 2 marks, then he's writing 10 lines. Please, okay, it's very important. Don't write so much. It's the pointers. What is the point? Why does it matter? What is the implication? If you give them these things, you are fine. Than somebody who beat around the bush and talk plenty and do not even bring these issues. That is what they are looking for. So if those points are not in the answer, they are not giving you. Do you get it? So if you do not talk about the point, why it matters, how it impacts the organization, you do not get the full mark. No matter what you write, it's useless because you are not telling us what we want. Do you get it? And also, make sure a lot of things that are also killing people is their handwriting. I beg you. You may have a very nice handwriting, but it's too small. Increase the font a little, right? Increase the font to 12 or 13. 10, 11 is not that bad, but it's too small. Increase your font. 2, spacing. Some people, their handwriting is nice, but they do not space out. 3, those who like link writing, you know link writing. So somebody will be writing there, then you do something like this. What is this? You yourself, can you see this? So you see, these are the things killing us. It's not really the knowledge. The knowledge is part 2, but the basic, the small, the nitty-gritty things, the little things, right? This thing, are you a doctor? And you say there. So examiner who is marking or your marker, how would he know that this means there? Okay, so the legibility of your handwriting is
Especially, you said Dr. Biagi Miguel that.
and maybe an Dr. Biagi the girl that. But please take these things serious, okay? Very, very serious. You still have some few weeks to change some things about the way you write. Just try spacing. If you know your handwriting is the type and like these things are too close together, do some line spacing. Try spacing them out. If you practice every day, you practice small, try writing your notes again and try to give it space. You see your handwriting will be very nice. If you are the type that your handwriting is nice, but it's clustered together, learn to leave like 2 or 3 spaces after each point you write. Like each question, each sub question, you leave about 2 or 3 lines. It makes your work look neat. And I told you that instead of a full paragraph, use bullet points for the paragraph. Do you remember? So if I have 5 sentences making up a paragraph, I'll make each sentence a bullet point. Do you get the concept? Do you get the concept? Yes.
Yes, sir.
And anytime you are stuck in a model, right? This is how we learn models. That's why we say application of strategic models. Any model you learn the concept. What is it about? Okay. After the concept, you learn if there are any calculations. If any calculations, how do I do it? The third question is, how is it similar or different from other models? Then the last question is what? What are the advantages and disadvantages of this model? I leave you with the secret to passing case study. This is it. If you take any model, know this about it. If you know this about any model, there's no way you are going and coming back. So what did I say? If you get a model, you should focus on. When you get a model, how do you learn?
The concept.
So look at the concept.
The concept. Check for any calculations. Also,
Calculation.
how similar or
Yeah.
different is it
Similar or
from
different.
other models? Then what are the disadvantages and advantages?
Advantages and
And this is the same way ICA can ask you a question. You go, you are looking for building block model, and ICA will come and ask you, how does the building block model, or how is the building block model similar to the balance scorecard, and how is it different from the balance scorecard, 8 marks? And you see they're examining from here. Secondly, you come and they give you issues, and they say, apply the building block model. Where are they coming from? Concepts, right? And they give you some numbers, ratios. You are doing some calculations, right? Finally, they ask you, what are the significance and the demerits of the building block model? So you see, every model that you learn, if you learn it like this, trust me, it's like you have covered all the loopholes. Does it make sense? So now, between now and the time you write, any model you take, look at this. So you go and they say, using an appropriate portfolio model, because you know the similarities and differences of the BCG matrix to other models, you know the BCG is similar to the what? The Shell Directional Policy Matrix, the Public Service Matrix, ADL matrix, right? The life cycle matrix is similar to the product life cycle matrix. It's similar to the GE planning grid or the McKinsey business screen. You see? So you see, all these models are similar to it, but there are some differences. It's a MABA analysis. So this is how you learn. This is how you learn. You, for now, relax. Pre-scene is there, we know. Pre-scene, no. But if you do not get this thing, don't go and look at pre-scene. Don't go and analyze pre-scene. First, get the techniques. I hope that makes sense. Now, when you get pre-scene, you realize you are very comfortable. Please, are we okay? Can we move?
Yes.
So I talked about managing your time well, avoiding long paragraphs, right? So passing case study, these are just the basic requirements that you need to pass strategic case study. Okay, so that was the second bit. If you have any question, you can ask. If you don't, we jump into important stuff. Learning. Okay. So I told you the main material that they use to set your questions is the ICA textbook. If you do not have one, make sure between now to the time you write, you get the ICA textbook, because that is where your questions will be coming from. I'll not lie to you. It's there. It is there. So the first part of your syllabus talks about strategy, stakeholders, and mission. And this is an area where questions can come a lot. And the questions are all from the syllabus, right? So when you look at the ICA textbook itself, it says by the end of this chapter, you should be able to, you the student, you should be able to do this. So if you are here now and you are a student and you are not able to do this, then please, you need to be able to do this. Is that okay? So first, you must know what strategy is. And you must also tell us what strategic management, what it is, and also be able to discuss its importance. So this question can come as theory. And the same way, it could come as practical. And you know, ICA can easily make theory practical and it's in a funny way. See, in a board meeting, the board disagreed on the importance of strategic management to the organization. As a business analyst, explain to the board what strategic management is, how it relates to strategy, and discuss their importance. You see how a theory question was framed into a practical question? True or false? True or false? Has it not been framed into a practical question? Yes. So one thing you must understand is that theory can easily be framed into practical for you. And what role do you play? You must know who you are in that specific scenario. Then you know what answer to produce. Does that make sense? So here it says what? We must know strategy, strategic management, and discuss their importance. I know as I know, everybody knows this. I'm not going to worry myself talking about strategy. You know strategy, right? Strategy is the long-term direction of scope, direction and scope of an organization also, considering its stakeholder, what? Its stakeholder expectations also. You get it? Considering its stakeholder expectations in light of its resources to achieve its objectives, right? Its resources and the environment to achieve its objectives. So the whole thing is that when it comes to strategic case study or when it comes to strategy, three things are hiding in the case. One is long-term direction and scope. There must be strategic direction, right? Two, there must be resources, right? Three, there must be what? Environment. Not so. Four, there must be stakeholders. Please, do you get it? So you see, everything about me is keywords. Long-term direction, that's your strategic choice, where you want to, right? Resources, that's your internal environment. Environment, that's your external environment. And finally, your stakeholders. So strategic management or strategic issues are all around this area. Where you want to go, how do you want to go? Not so. Where you want to go, how do you get there? Where you are, where you want to go, how do you get there? Okay, so strategy or strategic management is actually what? The skill or art, are you getting it? Of formulating, implementation, and evaluation of cross-functional decisions to achieve what? Business objectives. So in simple terms, you are saying that when you say strategic management, you are looking at the ability, also, or the skill to what? Position yourself. That means determine where you are now. Okay, that is where you are now. Okay, and that's what we call strategic position. Where you are is determined by your SWOT. What you have, also, which is your strengths and weaknesses, and what you can get, which is your opportunities and threats. That's where you are. Then choice. Your choice is where you want to go, right? Where you want to go, right? Where do you want to go? That's your options and choice. And this is where we call strategies, right? These are your strategies. Then finally, what? Implementation. And implementation is what? How do you get there? Okay. I hope you get the whole thing. So this thing, we've been doing it every day. So strategic management, we do it all the time. So where are we now? Where do we want to go? How do we get there? That's where we put people to work, right? So strategic management is the management of these things within your various departments, within the whole organization, right? So that is why it says what? We should understand strategic management and discuss the importance of strategic management. Are we okay? So you must understand what we mean by what? Strategic planning, long-term planning, and corporate planning. Okay, so with strategic planning is the overall plan for the overall organization. Long-term plan could be any long-term plan, a plan beyond 5 to 10 years for every department in the organization. It could be any department at all. A long-term plan could be for marketing. A long-term plan could be for R&D department, right? But a strategic plan relates to everyone. It's for the overall organization. A corporate plan is only a plan that relates to the organization's corporate goals. That is for the board of directors level. So it means that within strategic planning includes long-term planning and corporate planning. Are we okay? So the next question says we should be able to examine the different levels of strategy, including corporate, business, and functional. So according to this guy, Anthony, there are 3 levels of management, right? The top level management, middle level, and the lower level management, which could be categorized as the strategic level, the business level, and the functional operational level. The top level management or the strategic level or corporate level is the what? The board of directors. They formulate the grand strategies. They have the overall corporate objective, right? They do the 5 or more years planning. Okay, so your corporate strategies include the overall strategy for the organization, which their focus is mainly what? Looking at the reason to be, where the business wants to go to. So they look at what businesses to go into. Okay, so corporate strategy has to look at what businesses you go into and how to manage those businesses. Do you get it? Then the business level has to do with the implementation of what these people have brought. So business level is all about competition. So now management has decided where they want to go and how to get there, right? Now the question is, how do we compete? So business level strategy is all about competitive advantage, or you get it, or competition. Then now that we know how to compete and how to succeed, we must put people to work to make sure that that competitive advantage can be achieved. Does it make sense? So who can summarize what I just said? Corporate level, what do they do? Corporate level, what do they do? I said
So
they
they are
have
responsible.
for knowing what
They are
kind of
responsible.
businesses to what go into and how to manage those businesses, right? And business level are responsible for what?
Competition.
Competition in those businesses that top level wants us to go into. And functional is just putting those things to work, right? Putting in daily action plans to make sure that these things are achieved. Are we okay? Please, are we okay with the 3 levels of strategy? Assuming it comes, they can give you a scenario and ask you that Prestige Designs, with this strategy that they are doing, which level of strategy does it fall into? And now it's practical. So you have to know the particular issue at hand and tell us how it is relating to what the organization in question. Does it make sense?
No.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So let's play a little game. Let's go into each of the levels of strategy and see what we should expect from there, right? Let's see what we should expect from each of them. I mean, in your exam, not just as we. In your exam, what can we expect from each level of strategy? So let me just. Okay, so let's start with corporate strategy. Okay, so when it comes to corporate strategy or corporate level strategies, in your exam, what should you expect? With corporate strategy, the first thing is, I told you we must know what businesses to go into and how to manage them, right? So what businesses to go into means you must know about what? Your businesses and what? Markets, right? So the first thing is that know about businesses and markets to go into. So the first thing here is to know where you want to go. And where you want to go means that you should look at what businesses to go into. And what businesses to go into, you are looking at how to do what? What strategic business units to go into, right? So you must have a category of business, and we call that what? Portfolio analysis. Okay, so you should know how to manage your portfolio of businesses. First of all, what businesses and markets should you go into? So what businesses should you have? Okay, so corporate strategy begins with that. Your strategic direction. So what businesses do I want to go into? So first of all, what are my portfolios of businesses? So this is where you use things like what? The product life cycle. Okay, product life cycle as a portfolio model. You use what? The BCG matrix. Okay, you use what? The Ashridge display. Let me remove Ashridge from here because Ashridge, we can use it Though it's a portfolio model, we can use it separately to do something else. Okay, so we can use what? GE business screen. I hope you're writing alongside. GE business screen. We have
Papa.
the directional policy matrix. Directional policy matrix for Shell. We have public service matrix. Public service matrix. Okay. Okay. So these are the common ones that you have. Then these are the businesses to go into. The same way we have some markets we can go into, right? We can look at markets we can go into. So looking at markets you can go into, there are two models you can consider. You can consider going international, which is international strategy choices. Okay, international strategy choices. Okay, and under international strategy choices, I see here some particular models. Here you can look at mode of entry into a foreign market. How do you want to enter in a foreign market? Do you want to go by exporting? Do you want to go by joint venture? Do you want to go by overseas production? Do you want to go by licensing or franchising? I get it. Do you want to do collaboration? Do you want to use agents? I get it. That's the mode of entry. We must look at how, I get it. We must look at something like what? Integration Responsiveness Framework, IR framework for international strategy choices. We have to look at what? EPRG framework, ethnocentric, radiocentric, polycentric, geocentric strategies. So this framework is likely for this diet. Then you have other models of international strategy choices that you can look at. I get it. These ones are rare, but something like Kenichi Ome. Okay, so you can look at Kenichi Ome on the 5 C's of strategy and also the stages a business goes into, right, when it wants to dominate in a foreign market. So these are particular areas that they can ask you questions on. Apart from that, the next area about markets is to look at what? The growth vector matrix, the ANSOV growth vector matrix, right? These are all corporate strategies, and that is what I'm going to teach you in just a minute. So I'll teach you everything you need to know about corporate strategies, teach you everything you need to know about business strategies, and teach you everything you need to know about functional strategies. Okay? So I'm just writing, you should write them so you know what they are about.
So we are writing down.
Okay.
I don't even make.
So if I pick life cycle,
please, what's the first thing under the market?
International strategy choices, and I broke them down for you. Mode of entry into foreign markets, IR framework, EPRG framework, and Kenichi Ome or Ome strategies. Okay, you can have the 5 C's of strategy. 5 C's of international.
So, how is the Ome sport? It's actually
OHMAE. OHMAE. Kenichi Ome. Yes.
All right, thank you.
When they say, what are the 5 C's according to Kenichi Ome? Then it's just there like that, 10 marks. 2
Yeah, beg, relax. Relax, give me.
I hear. I relax, give you. Please, can we move?
Yes, please.
Can we move?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So where are we now?
Growth vector.
Growth vector. Okay. So the whole thing is that if every business wants to grow, okay, if every business wants to grow, the business must do two things to grow. It must either intensify what it's already doing, or it must what? Diversify. So Ansoff actually came from the old corporate strategy. So anytime you want to expand, right, there are two things you do to expand, okay? Anytime you want to, I said anytime you want to expand, there are how many things? There are two things you need to expand, right? One is to intensify what you're already doing.
Hello, sir, are you there? Is it my network or it's, I don't know.
It's not your network. Oh.
I'm just quiet. I'm typing something. I'm typing something. Somebody's worrying me with messages here. So it's either you intensify, okay, what you're already doing, which we call it intensification strategies, or sometimes we use the word concentration strategies, right? Okay, that is what we call what? Intensification. Or you diversify. Okay, so those are the two. It's either we intensify or we what?
Diversify.
We diversify. So anytime you want to grow, these are the things you think about. Now, intensification means we do what we do best. So how do we do that? We can do market penetration. Market penetration means that I do what I do best by selling the same products that I'm already selling, right? In the same what? In the same market. Do you get it? And how do we do this? We can decide to what? Increase our marketing mix effort. We can decide to do consolidation. Consolidation means we do nothing. Or we can decide to take out a part of the market that what is not doing very well, right? And it's still market penetration. So under market penetration, the key things we can do is do what we do best by increasing our marketing efforts, right? Giving people discounts, doing sales promotion, doing nothing, just stay there, right? That's consolidation. Or withdrawing a part of my activity from the market. So that is still the same thing I'm doing. Let's say I used to sell toothpaste and brush, right? But now you come, I'm still selling, but I do not sell the brush anymore. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Two, we can do product development.
Pick that one again.
No, withdrawing from the market means that you are taking some activities which are not doing very well.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You get it? So we have product development where we are trying to what? Develop our new product. So this one is a new product or a different product in the same market, right? Or the same or existing market, right? So when we try to sell the, oh, who is worrying me? Oh. Please hold on for me some few seconds, eh? Okay. So product development, we sell a new product in the same market. How do you sell the same product, or how do you sell new products in the same market? How do you sell a new product in the same market?
More advertisement and try to convince consumers of other products. Semedi Guana.
Please, are we okay? So how do we sell the same product in a new product in the same market? So if right now you are patronizing my class, and then I decide to introduce a new course to you, how can I go about it? That is product development. Do you get it? Same market. That means that people already know me. They are my same sales prospects. Do you get it?
So what about differentiation the product?
Differentiation could work, but it's a new
Yeah, you should also have a brand name.
You see, so far as the product is new and I already
Something
know
like
the people. So far as the product is new and I already know the people, same market, they already know me. All I need to do is offer them things that will make them happy. Product bundle pricing, right? Get my new product together with the one you already know how to buy. Wouldn't it work? It would work, right? Because the person already knows corporate reporting. And then I said I'm doing corporate reporting plus a new course. So he wants to do corporate reporting and he's getting the two for a cheap price. He's going to buy both, right? And try the new course is good as we say. We can intensify advertising efforts. Not be so? True or false? So this one is so open that you may think about strategies that you think can work, because here is the product you are trying to build with your same customers or your same market. I hope that is okay. That's why we call it intensification. You are intensifying what is already there. So same market, same product, same market, different product, different market, same product, right? So the next is what we call what? Market what? Market development. When market development is what? Is the market you are trying to develop. So it's rather what? The same products, but what? A new market, right? So you are now selling the same product that you sell to new people who do not know you. So because it's going to new people who do not know you, you must do more promotion, right? Sales promotion, increase your IDA, right? Remember, if anybody will buy from you, this is what you must use. You must grab their attention, you must drive their interest, create a desire, and then they can take action. So anybody who makes money online creates a funnel, and a funnel is the process from awareness to conversion. So when the customer buys from you, okay? So there's a part in your syllabus which we call e-marketing. Okay, that part can be instituted. How, you know, there are a lot of real estate companies online, and then you can purchase properties, you can rent properties, you can even do affiliate systems for properties online. And these are the things.
Say the acronym
right?
again, please.
You said?
The acronym again.
IDA.
Yeah.
To do any promotion, you must consider IDA. You must grab awareness or attention, drive interest, create a desire for your product, and then the customer will take action. Remember, nobody would buy from you if they do not know you. So you must create awareness. The person must be interested in your products, right? There must be a desire to purchase by creating compelling information, and then the person will take action, which is conversion, right? Or sale. This is where you convert prospects into dollars or cedis. Make sense? So with these things, you see, it is intensifying what we know already, which is our market or our product. But then if we cannot do this, then we must diversify. And anytime you are diversifying, it's either you are going to related diversification, okay? So if your diversification is related, we call it a concentric diversification. And your related diversification, it could be horizontal or vertical. So diversification also comes with integration, okay? So we are saying that anytime you want to go into related diversification, it means that you are selling what? A new product or a different product in a whole different market, right? So new product, new market is what we call what? Diversification. And diversification also includes integrating different strategies. So integration is a part of related diversification. And related diversification may be vertical or it can be what? Horizontal. Let me explain. So tell me which is horizontal and which one is vertical. Now, I was selling Milo, right? Then I diversified and I'm now selling milk. What kind of diversification is this? It's related, right? It's
Yes,
related.
related.
But the question is this horizontal or is vertical?
It's
Horizontal.
horizontal.
Horizontal at the same level, right? I'm dealing with the same kind of product, but a bit different, right? Okay. Now, horizontal integration is where we try to either do the same line of business, right? But a different distribution channel level. So maybe I used to be here, now I am here, right? I'm selling this level of product. I was making car, not so. Now I am making van. Now I'm making articulated truck. It's horizontal, right? Now, with vertical integration, it could be a backward integration, meaning I'm going to the raw material base, right? Or it could be a forward integration, meaning I'm coming forward. So look, I used to make cars, right? Now I am into the distribution of cars. What is it? Is it a forward integration or is it a backward integration?
Forward.
Forward.
I used to manufacture car. Now I'm distributing cars and selling cars. It's a forward integration, right? I'm going up the distribution chain, down the distribution chain, right? Now, what if I used to make car, but now I am going into the manufacture of tires? What kind of integration is this?
Backwards.
Backward, because I'm going to the raw material base. I'm becoming a supplier to my business, right? So these are all ways companies can grow, right? So this is a growth vector. So Ansoff put all these models together into a model we call the Ansoff's matrix or the expansion matrix. Okay, so this was the first directional policy matrix that came. In the old strategy books, we used to call it the directional policy matrix, right? So now they just decided to call it the growth vector or the product market matrix, and Ansoff developed it like this. So if you want to put it together, okay, so if we decide to put here markets, we decide to put here products, right? He put the intensification and diversification together. So let's put here existing or same. Let's put here different or what? New, right? So existing and different, right? Okay. So if we sell existing products in existing markets, we are doing market what? Let me change that. We are doing what? Market penetration also. If we sell existing products in different markets, it is called market what? Development, not so, because we are trying to build the market. If we sell different products in existing markets, it's the product which is different, right? We are trying to build a product, so it's product what? Development. If we sell different products in different markets, we are trying to do what? Diversification, right? I hope that is okay. I hope that is okay. So as part of corporate strategy, these are the first issues around corporate strategy, right? Managing businesses, setting up, knowing the businesses to go into and deciding what? How to manage them. So the how to manage them includes what we call corporate parenting. You must be a good parent to the businesses you have gone into, right? But one thing is that you see what we saw was growth, right? You saw growth vector, didn't we? This is for organizations that are growing. What if the organization is not growing? But you see, this organization is particularly in the growth stage of its life, right? That is why it is trying to what? Expand. What about an organization that is not growing anymore? That is in the maturity stage, right? So there are also organizations also in the maturity stage. They adopt what we call stable growth strategies, okay? So when we say stable growth strategy, it means that this organization is in the maturity stage and it is not growing very well, or it is stable, right? And every organization in the maturity stage does not need growth again. So it can adopt what? A no profit strategy. So no profit strategy means that where I've gotten to, I do not think I need any growth again, right? Also, some people may adopt a pure stability strategy, right? Where they are not moving at all, they stay where they are. Or some people may adopt minimal profit or pause, proceed with caution strategy. So they pause and proceed with caution because at that point, they already have cash cows, right? They already have what? Cash cows. They are making enough. So they do not see the need why they should proceed again, right? So it's either the person is growing, that is where he tries to use Ansoff, right? He's in the growth stage. He's expanding. But what if he's not expanding? He's in the maturity stage, then stable growth strategies. Or he's in the decline stage. If your business is on the decline, you look for decline strategies. And to decline, it's either you need a turnaround strategy, you need to turn business around, you need to divest, sell your asset. We call it divestment strategy. Or you need to liquidate, close your business down, right? Liquidation strategy or harvesting strategies, right? So they're also called harvesting strategies. So these are all strategies depending on where the business is, right? So though they are all corporate strategies, one focuses on when you are growing, right? Which is your growth strategies. And growth strategies are of two main types. What are the main growth strategies? What are the two main forms of growth strategy? What are the two main forms of growth strategy? Intensification and diversification, right? And even within diversification strategies, there are also integration strategies, not so? And what are the integration strategies we have? They could be horizontal integration or what? Or vertical. And within vertical, we could have backward integration and what? Forward integration. Okay. So in the growth stage, we focus on what? Growth, right? Answer, right? In the maturity stage, we focus on what? Stability strategies. No, so the reason is because here, the product we have is a star, right? So we need to defend its market share. So we need to grow. Here, the product we have here is a cash cow, right? So that is why we are stable. We do not see the need to grow again. Here, the product we have is a dog. That is why we are either trying to turn around, or sometimes there's another strategy called pruning. We cut out activities. We cut some of our activities that are not doing well, sell some of the dogs, and focus only on the ones that can generate us minimal to no profit. And also we can even do bankruptcy strategy, right? We can file for bankruptcy when things are not going well. These are all decline strategies. So during the decline stage, we can either turn around, sell our assets, liquidate, not so, take some money from what is left, not so, or declare bankruptcy, or cut some non-cash generating activities or loss-making activities and focus on the ones that can generate minimal profits for us. Right? So are we okay with corporate strategy now? So now that we have been able to see what we need, what businesses to go into and how to what? Yes. Oh, withdrawal, corrective, and consolidation strategy are all under market penetration. You see, the thing is that yes, they do not really signify growth, but they are like you are doing what you do already. Either you consolidate, you correct a few things, or you take some things out. You remember when I was talking about market penetration, I put them there, right? Meaning that they are subsets of your market penetration strategy. Okay, so that is it. So now we have determined what kind of businesses we want to go into. The next question is how to manage these businesses. That's corporate strategy, how to manage them. So how to manage them is what we call corporate parenting. How do you manage businesses? So as a corporate parent, you must be able to what? Manage these businesses. How do you manage a business as a corporate parent? First of all, you must have a parenting style, right? You must have a what? A parenting style. So what parenting style will you adopt? And the second is, okay, now that you have adopted a parenting style, how do you what? Provide assistance as a parent, right? How do you provide assistance as a parent? And that is the rationale, okay? You might have a rationale to provide assistance. Maybe you want to provide assistance in this way, or this is the reason why you are trying to provide assistance. And the main reason behind managing corporate businesses is either to add value to them or to destroy value in them and sell them off, right? So remember, if you have any asset, it's either you want the asset to grow. Let's say you have a business. You either want the business to grow or you want the business to what? Lose value so that you sell it off, right? This is the main reason why you manage a business. And we use one model to assess whether the business is worthwhile adding value to or destroying its value. And we call that the Ashridge portfolio display, right? So this one assesses your portfolio of businesses and tells which ones you should add value to, meaning when that business has a high feel and a high benefit, right? That means that business is something that you can add value to. So the business, are you getting it? Relates to what you already do. You have the competencies to add value to it. And also you think you can help grow that business or help it generate significant cash flows. When these two things match, then it means that that's a business you can help. That means you can add value to it. But when these two things do not match, it means that that business may be a value trade. It may be a value trap business. No, so it's an alien business. When that business is not a good business, then you can destroy value in it and sell it off. So that's the main reason why. That's why I didn't add this to the portfolio businesses, because this model is used to assess whether we should add value to a business or destroy value in a business. So that business may either be what? A heartland business, which is a good business for you. It may be a business you are not so sure about, a ballast business. It may be a value trap business, or it may be what we call an alien business, right? So be careful if this model is not thrown at you this night under real estate. Boom. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so you see how I broke corporate strategy down for you. First of all, what businesses do we go into? And what's the next question? How do we manage them, right? Aha. So you see how many strategies came out of them? Plenty. And that's corporate strategy. Now we move to business strategy. So the business level strategies talk about some things that we need to understand. So when it comes to business strategy, what do we need to understand under business strategy? It's competitive advantage. Yes, boss.
Sorry, can you please go back? I want to screenshot the way.
Which one?
Yes. Please, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, so with business strategy, we want to gain competitive advantage, and it's two things. How to gain the competitive advantage, right? So here, this is how I structure it. How to gain competitive advantage. Okay, and after gaining the competitive advantage, how to sustain the competitive advantage. Do you know that you may be in an industry where nobody can compete with you, but it only lasts a short time? True or false? True or false?
True.
Very true, sir.
Yes. So the thing is, it's not just about gaining the competitive advantage, but also being able to sustain what? The competitive advantage. So these are the two things that ICA focuses on when they are going to ask you a question on business strategy. So how to gain competitive advantage? You must first know about the generic, the generic strategies, right? So the very first thing is that you must know the generic strategies. Now, let me just go down there. So this is the main thing you write down. Now let's take them one by one. Let's go to the best way to start competing. Okay, the first thing is, how do you create competitive advantage? First of all, you must establish how to do business. So that is the grand strategies or the generic strategies that every business uses to compete, right? Now, if you want to compete in any market, it depends on two things. Whether you are going low cost or you are coming with premium features, right? That's why you can go to some places, you get cheap products for the same product, the generic ones, or you can get the different or the modular ones, right? So it's either I'm going low cost, okay, or I'm differentiating. These are the major strategies that we implement. Either we are going to sell in a broad market, okay? So this is the big market where everybody buys from, or we want to go with what? A narrow market, sell to a few people. And the narrow market is what we call the niche market, okay? So anytime I want to sell in the broad market, but I want to go low cost, I become a cost leader, okay? So we call this cost leadership. Anytime I want to differentiate, but in a broad market, it's broad differentiation, which we actually call differentiation, right? But if I want to sell to only a few people in the market or a small segment of the market with specific characteristics, then it's a focus strategy. So if I want to focus on maybe ICA students only and sell them a particular course, which ICA students, those based in Accra, this is a niche strategy. I'm not targeting everybody, but just those in Accra, right? But I want to sell to them at a lower cost. That means I am doing what? Cost focus strategy, right? What if I want to sell to those same people in Accra, but I want to use a different approach? I want to sell videos. I want to sell courses. I want to sell courses on pen drive. I want them to have a quiz online and all that. This is a different approach to teaching, right? So that will be what? A differentiation focus what? Strategy, right? So these are the main things that what? People would want from a company. So there are three main strategies: cost, differentiation, and then what? Focus, right? I hope you get the idea. And the whole thing is that what are the risks associated with each of these strategies and which one would be best for a real estate company? Okay, this is what you have to think about. So assuming the company wants to what, even achieve these things, then what value can you give to the customer? And what is the price associated with that value? So the whole thing is that before every customer gives you value, before these things can be achieved, remember, it must tie in with your value chain. Because listen, for instance, if I'm a cost leader, then I must be able to have good inbound logistics, right? Why am I saying that? Meaning that I must be able to source raw materials at a lower cost. My procurement departments must be very strong, right? Being able to negotiate better prices with suppliers, better raw materials. HR being able to negotiate labor costs so that my cost of production may become very low, right? And once cost of production is low, then truly I may sell at a lower price and have what? Enough value. Does that make sense?
I don't even know what you are doing. What are you doing?
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Did you get it? So we are saying that, okay, if I want to be a cost leader, then my value chain should come with lower cost. True or false? True or false? And that is what will give enough value to the particular customer I'm dealing with. If I want to go with differentiation, then my value chain should come with expensive stuff, right? Which are quality. So the focus should be more on quality. So if I'm buying raw materials, then I'm looking at the more quality raw materials. My production process should be different. I should inculcate more production technologies, right? More new machinery, new technology, so that I can bring a different commodity other than what people are already using in the market. Do you get the idea? So these all things that we are doing about being able to generate competitive advantage starts with our grand strategies or our generic strategies, right? Which is what every business will be doing, either to lower cost, either to differentiate, either to focus. Okay, and these are the things that we think about. Now, Bowman decided to sit down and say, okay, with all these things you are saying, you are doing well, it's true. But on the other hand, other people do not necessarily think about only price or the plan to achieve or acquire them, right? Because remember, if you take let's look at the 3 C's of marketing, right? If you take every company against its competitor and its customer, right? There are some things in common. Between your competitor, the only thing you have in common is price, right? But if you pick you and your customer, the only thing that can give value is value. The only thing that can distinguish you is value. Between your customer and your competitor and you and your competitor, is the value you give the customer that is going to determine whether the customer will buy from you or will buy from your competitor. But between you and your competitor, the customer only sees the price. Do you get it? So what value are you giving to your customer today? That's what Bowman said, okay, therefore, it means that for every company to be successful, it should draft strategies based on the perceived value or the perceived benefits that the customer is willing to get from that company and the cost or the price associated with that perceived benefit, right? So he's saying that, okay, at any point in time, he came up with what? He came up with, what do we call it? A clock that tells us how the combination of perceived benefits and price can give this value to the customer. So he is combining price and value. I get it. Price and what? Perceived benefits to give a particular strategy. So it's still the same generic strategies that have been combined into the Bowman strategy clock. Please, are we okay?
Yes, please.
So look at it here. You can see. So when the price, the perceived value or the perceived benefit is low, and then the price is low, you see we have a no frills price. Okay. So this is where when people who are very price conscious, they like very cheap things. Okay, so this one, the benefit is low, the price speaks for itself, right? Then we come to where the price is low, I get it, but the benefit is medium. Okay, so it provides a better value than competitors and cost leadership is needed, right? The price war may ensue because all people will be trying to adopt that same low price. Then we come to where the what? You have a low price, but the value added is high, right? So it could be a low price plus differentiation. So here the cost base must be low and we can build market share or we can use it to enter a particular market. That, hey, these people, their product is quality, but you know the price is low. It's a different product that just came out, but the price is low. People will be rushing for it. That's low price plus differentiation, right? It's a hybrid strategy. Then we come to where the what? The price is medium. Are you getting it? The price is medium, but the value is high. So perceived added value either increases your market share or supports your price premium. Okay. Then we go to where the price is high and the value is high, and that is what we call focus differentiation. So 3, 4, and 5 are all variations of differentiation, right? But anything that has a low price, that has a very high price and a low value, from 6, 7, and 8 are all destined for ultimate failure. It means that anything that will make the quality lower than the price, nobody will purchase it. That is why when you see 6, 7, and 8 risky margins, they are all not what? They are all not profitable. Okay, so this is what the strategy clock talks about. And in exam, all you have to do is P, right? Tell us hybrid strategy, what is it? Then you say from the case, I think this one can be applied to prestige designs. This one cannot be applied to prestige designs. Overall, this is what I think, that he must apply this strategy, or these two strategies are suitable: differentiation and focus differentiation. On the other hand, applying the model above have the following criticisms. Then you put it there nicely, and then you get your mark, you are gone. That's how we answer cases. Please, are you learning something? Okay. Any question? Any question? Okay, so those are the two things that are needed for what we call corporate or competitive advantage. Now, that is competitive advantage.
Sorry.
Yes,
I have
please.
a question.
Yes.
The Bowman strategic clock.
Yeah.
So is it also a generic strategy?
Yes, it is a
Or
variation of the generic strategies.
Variation of it.
To help you create competitive advantage. But then once we have been able to create the advantage, we must be able to sustain it. And sustaining competitive advantage comes with some models. Okay, if you want to sustain competitive advantage, the first model I would want you to look at is the value chain. So your value chain, remember, your value chain can tell you how to add value to create advantage, right? 2, you can look at your resources and competencies, right? You can use the resource model, M's, right? Your M model. Can you mention them? So looking at the resources you can hold well or grow or add value to add what? To sustain competitive
Material, machine.
So materials, machinery,
machine,
manpower,
men
and women, management information, market, makeup,
I'm seeing stars. Which one is this?
methods. You are seeing stars because these are the resources of an organization using the 9M model. Okay, this 9M model is used to conduct a resource audit. Okay, so anytime you want to see whether an organization has the necessary resources to achieve its competitive advantage, it must assess its materials it's machineries, it's finance, which is money, not so. It's manpower, it's management information, the markets, it's makeup, that's its production, its infrastructure and makeup, its methods that it uses to produce and work, right? And it's what? Finances. When you are able to have a strong version of all these, then we say that your resources are strong, that people cannot easily copy. Your resources meet a particular threshold, right? So if you are conducting a resource audit, that means you are diagnosing whether you have something that can sustain competitive advantage. You can either use RUN, also to assess your resources. That means you check whether your resources are rare, your resources are robust, okay? Meaning nobody can copy, inimitable, okay? Your resources offer value, and your resources are non-substitutable, meaning nobody can substitute your resource or create new ones, right? So this is one threshold you can use to check whether your resources are powerful and can sustain your competitive advantage. 2, we can use the VIRO framework, right? Which says that, oh, your resources must be valuable. It's just a variation of it. Your resources must be inimitable, right? Meaning people cannot copy. Your resources must be rare. Your resources must have organization-wide support, organizations, right? Now, if these things are met, then that means your resources can offer you sustainable competitive advantage. Do you understand? So anytime you create competitive advantage, the next thing is to assess your internal resources and competencies to ensure that these resources can attain and create that sustainable competitive advantage that you are looking for. Do you understand? Do you get it? So how would ICA ask you this question? They will tell you to conduct a resource audit using the 9M model, or it can come purely as theory. It can come purely as theory. Let's see what diets this came. I think so far I've not opened any questions for you. Everything I'm saying, they are all past questions. They will come. Let me see. Resource. Coming. Management. That's come before. I'm just looking for the date it came. Unless I take my time to look at it, but it came. Okay, so these things are very important. So you see, when I mentioned the resource model, somebody said Edeni. It means it doesn't know. So let's say you didn't know, you go to the exam and it came. You have no idea. Theory, abo. You get it. And that's how last night people went and they saw the ICGN framework and they had no idea what it was. So they jumped that question. Yes, of course. If you don't know, you don't know. That's case study for you. ICA is not unpredictable. It is there, but you just have to learn. Okay.
Sir.
Yes, boss.
Hello, sir.
Yes, boss.
Please, is resource audit an element in is it business analysis? What's the name? This 20-mark session of the exams.
Yes, you see, a resource audit is part of your internal analysis, right? But it is something that can be used to assess whether you are performing well or you are not performing well. Remember, all these things you are doing ends up in performance appraisal.
Business plan.
Do you get it? Of course, it will end up in performance appraisal. So
yes,
it doesn't matter where you decide to classify it.
I was talking of business plan.
Oh, yes, of course. It forms part of business plan.
Okay.
And it also forms part of business strategy. So some things are there, they are conk everywhere. So once you know it, no matter where it comes, even as part of feasibility analysis, right? To check suitability, feasibility, and acceptability. Feasibility, you have to check whether you have the resources to carry it out. And these are resources, right? So checking whether these things stand means you are doing a feasibility test. Do you get it? I hope it makes sense. So as part of analysis, as part of choice and evaluation, resources play a key role. That is why when we started, the definition of strategy included some things: environment, resources, stakeholders, direction. Also, These things are conk everywhere. If you know it like that, it means wherever you find yourself in strategic case study, you can talk. You can be doing value chain, but there's HR in value chain, meaning that appropriate HR management, human resource management can help us have a better HR supporting activity. A better sales and marketing strategy can boost the sales and marketing effort in our value chain together with after sales service. Better procurement strategies, better production strategies can help us have a good and effective operation strategy, enriching our value chain. So everything is interrelated. Do not learn them in isolation. Yes, Andy, your hand is up.
I wanted to find out under what circumstance you can use the four main aspect apart from the using the 9M. That is the human resource, the intellectuals, that's of the four main way.
Which four main? Let me get it very well.
Achieving the competitive advantage.
These models that I mentioned,
yes,
the ones I've written. Oh no, they are all models.
No, I'm not referring
to which one?
Yes. I'm not referring to the 9M. It's apart from this one. You have the other four main. That is if the person make it general and does not specify.
You say if the person makes the
if they don't specify.
If they didn't specify what model to use, is that what you're saying?
That we should use a 9M. Yes.
And so you can take the resources as you see them. Okay, this is just a guide to help you identify. So if this resource model that you have there can also be used to determine the strengths and weaknesses that the organization also has, right? So if you go to the exam and they say conduct a resource audit, it doesn't mean you should use the 9M. The 9M is just a model to guide you. You can take financial resources and you say what? The company's cash position seems to have increased from what? 20% last year, but now it's now 80%, signifying that cash has increased. The company has high cash resources. Gearing for the company has gone down and the company seems to have better relationship with its suppliers. Not so. Also, the company has a staff strength of what? 250,000 employees. Are you getting it? So you are looking at resources. It has a brand name. All these things it's still a resource audit that you are doing. Checking whether these resources the company has can be copied or cannot be copied. Offer value or do not offer value, right? You are still doing a resource audit, but you just didn't group them under 9M. Do you get it?
Okay.
So it's not direct.
In the syllabus, they gave that 9M and that's of the main four financial what do you call it?
Physical resources.
Come again, human resource, financial resource, intellectual, and the technology.
Yes. So you can use that approach. It doesn't really matter. The 9M is just guiding you on the various kinds of resources that you can have and how to assess them. That's all. And these things, when you analyze them and they offer value, they are not substitutable, they are rare, they are organized well, then nobody can really copy them easily. Do you get it? That means that if you have competitive advantage with these resources or competencies, then people cannot copy. You can be a monopoly for a long time in the market because nobody can easily copy you. Do you get the idea? As part of competitive advantage sustainability, apart from these models, you need a marketing mix. Anybody who is successful in the market and has been able to capture the market for a long time has very good control over its marketing mix. 4 P's for products and 7 P's for services, right? So we are saying that your marketing mix, which is what? Your products, your place, your price and promotion, right? Or it should be product, price, place, and promotion, right? These 4 P's of marketing, you should know what they are. These are all marketing strategies, right? You should know what they are and how they are implemented. These are for product, but for services, there's extra 3 P's. People, processes, and physical evidence that a service has taken place, right? Now, these 3 P's are for services. Now, real estate company that was giving us, was it products or it was services? Or it's a combination of products and services? you need to ask yourself. And note whether we can implement, did they have a marketing issue? Whether we can implement the 4 P's of marketing or the 7 P's of marketing for the service part of what they are doing. And these things, you must know what goes into them. What are the product strategies? What are the place strategies, distribution channels? What are the various pricing strategies? It's a key area you need to know. What are the various promotional strategies? Can we do door-to-door sales in real estate? Can we do sales promotion? Can we do bundle pricing promotion? Are you getting it? So you must think about all these things, whether it aligns with the value chain of the particular organization. I hope that is okay. I hope that is okay. So effective management of your 4 Ps or your marketing mix can also help you attain competitive advantage. Is that okay? So apart from your marketing mix, there's one thing that pops up in exam. It has come 2 times and it could come again. The 6 principles of strategic positioning. The 6 principles of strategic positioning. The 6 principles of strategic positioning. Okay. Now, Michael Porter provided some views on how individual firms can achieve sustainable competitive advantage. So you see that now we have moved from competitive advantage and we are talking about what? Sustainable what? Competitive advantage. Have you noticed? So you see, there's a first principle that says what? You must have a strategic goal to achieve a superior long-term return on investment. Okay, so if you want to achieve strategic, sustainable competitive advantage, you must have a goal to achieve a superior long-term ROI. So you should not select what? As your strategic goal, any other objective, such as maximizing sales volume, maximizing market share on the assumption that high profits will result from this. So if you maximize sales or market share, it does not necessarily provide a superior return on investment. However, your main focus should be to what? Increase the end of the day, your highest return on investment that you want to get. That is what will tell you that you have actually what? Sustained the competitive advantage you want to achieve. 2. The second principle is that what? Your strategy must offer a unique value proposition. Or in internet marketing, we call this the irresistible offer. Okay? So this is the combination of price and benefits that competitors do not and cannot offer. It is only something you can offer. Do you get it? And this one is something that, okay, if I give, nobody can copy. And also, if I give, it makes me stand out. So the value proposition might be for customers in the entire market or for customers in a particular segment or niche of the market. So you see, everything about sustaining competitive advantage starts from the competitive advantage itself. Do you get the idea? So the third principle is that there should be a distinctive value chain. So you see, as we go along, you see that it has still been summarized. I've highlighted some things. Unique selling proposition, also long-term ROI, unique value proposition or unique selling proposition, distinctive value chain. So there should be a distinctive value chain for the entity, right? A company should perform similar activities to competitors, but in a different way that can offer customers more value. So that's the third principle. You can summarize it and only write the ones that I've highlighted. Do you see? The next point is that what? The selected strategy should involve some trade-offs. This means that by selecting one of them, you can choose not to select other ones too, right? So there has to be a trade-off between selling price of the product and the benefits that it offers. For instance, you can have once the price is high, then you know the benefits are high. Once the price is low, you know the benefits are low, and so on and so forth, right? So by offering one set of benefits, the firm is also choosing not to offer others. So if a company could alter its product or value chain without having to make any trade-offs, it can not be achieving any sustainable competitive advantage. And competitors will be able to copy what you are doing. So the end result is do something people cannot easily copy. That is the thing, right? So there should be trade-offs. Principle number 5, all the different elements in the strategy and in the value chain should link together and reinforce each other. So linking together and reinforcing each other is the next point. And then principle 6 is that there should be what? Continuity of strategic direction. Once you get all this, you do not stop there. You should continue to make sure it gets better and better, consistency of your strategic direction. So in summary, what are the 6 principles of strategic positioning? I think it came in one of the dates. Was it May 2020? Yes, it came and it came again. And it will come again. Is that okay? So what are they? Who can summarize them for me? Just the ones I highlighted. Let's go from the top. The first one, let me just...
You set a strategic goal.
So let me only read what I've highlighted. Principle 1.
It should offer superior long-term return on investment.
Let's read them as they are. Principle 1. Superior long-term ROI.
Superior long-term return.
ROI. Principle 2. Unique value proposition. Principle 3. Distinctive value chain.
Distinct value.
Principle 4. Trade-off.
Trade-off.
Principle 5. Link together and reinforce elements. Principle 6. Continuity or consistency of strategic direction. Write it down. The 6
Sure.
principles of strategic positioning by Michael Porter.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, boss.
Kindly go up a bit.
I'm up. Let me go and get some water. Down or up? Which one do you want?
You go down for me, please.
Down, like this, or up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
So how many issues do you have under competitive advantage? Competitive advantage, where did we start from?
Started from the
Generic.
Generic strategy, Bowman strategy clock, resource and competencies, right?
Resource-based model.
VRI,
The viral. Yeah.
the value chain. Okay, these ones are used to assess. Then we looked at what? The marketing mix, not so. Then the 6 principles of strategic positioning. Okay. So who can dictate the 6 principles without looking? Let's see. I'll start the first one. Superior long-term ROI. 2.
Unique value proposition.
Unique value proposition. 3.
Distinctive value chain.
Distinctive value chain. 4.
Trade-off.
Trade-off. You should expect some trade-offs, right? 5.
Link
together.
Link together and reinforce each other.
Link together and reinforce. And 6. Consistently.
Or
Continuity of strategic direction.
Okay. Or consistently apply and keep doing what you are doing, right? So that is it. And this thing comes, and it comes for 10 marks just like that. Every diet it will come is 10 marks. It will never change. It will always be 10 marks. I hope when it comes, you can mafia it.
Yes, please.
Okay. So apart from that, we also have to understand the concept of what? Trying to establish your strategic or your product position. We have product positioning strategy. So if you want to position your product in the market, it's either you are a leader, a product leader, you are a follower, you are a challenger, or you are a nicher. And ICA can ask you this in a case. Who is a leader? So a leader is a company that holds a dominant position in the market, often due to their size, market share, or a well-established brand presence. So from the case that we have been given, does the company in question look like a leader, a market leader, a market follower, a market challenger, or a market nicher? Okay, so a follower is a company that emulates the strategy of market leaders and strives to maintain a competitive position. Into or not there or train, that company waits. When somebody does something, then he copies and follows. That's a follower. Okay, so these are product positioning strategies. Somebody said, Prof, please, in the exam, must these principles be listed in order, or you can start from any point? They must be listed in order. But in case you have no option, you just write them as you know them. Do you get it? Because at the end of the day, the mind cannot think far. So it's better than nothing. Do you get my point? If you remember, fine, write them in order. But if you do not remember, as and when they come, you can list them down. Because there's no time, you just write them in any order. But they should actually be listed in order. I hope that is okay. Okay. So I told you a leader is who? A person who has what? Let's highlight the keyword. A dominant what?
Dominant
position in the market. And what causes the dominant position? Maybe they are big, right? Their size, their market share, or they have a well-established brand presence. Followers are people who would emulate the strategies of market leaders, right? They copy. Challengers are the ones who seek to challenge market leaders by bringing what? Things that the market leaders are not doing to what? Aggressively try to steal their market share from them, right? So if you are what? Would you rather be a follower or a challenger? It depends, right?
Challenger is okay. You can overtake them.
So we have what we call niche. A niche is the one that on pen and wasem, he would want to be in the market. He's not challenging the challenger, not challenging the leader, right? But what he is doing is that he will come and focus on only a specific group of people in the market and serve them with specialized products or services, right? Either through specializing in a particular area. So you see, yes, you could have somebody running tuition service who teaches all courses, but you could have somebody to run an ICA class and he's only teaching advanced stuff. That's the only course he's teaching. True or false? True or false? True, right? Because that person can only focus on the niche market he's serving and only that niche market. So that's a niche. So what are the 4 types of product positions that you can adopt? Yes, who can mention them and explain them? 4 major types of product positions. Okay, if you mention that, you explain. A leader, what does a leader do?
And he holds the dominant position in the market.
Okay, a leader holds a dominant position in the market. Okay, then who follows?
They emulate the leaders. They wait for them. And then try to
follower emulates the leaders, right? Then a challenger challenges the leaders, right? Then a niche serves a small portion of the market. Okay. So what then is product positioning? So product positioning refers to how a company presents its products or services in the minds of customers relative to their competitors. Effective product positioning involves identifying unique selling points and benefits that resonate with the target market, creating a compelling perception of the product value, quality, and relevance. So at the end of the day, how do people see your product and where do you think it has reached in the market? Immediately people hear your name, do they want to buy? Do you get it? That is product position. So they can also ask you, so competitive advantage is one area that when questions come, students are really not so familiar with them because they only know about generic strategies and sometimes Bowman Club, but they do not know about all these areas. So imagine they come, and they usually come. What is a lock-in strategy? A lock-in strategy aims to create barriers that make it challenging for customers to switch to competitors. So look at what a lock-in strategy is. Are you getting it? You have become my customer, I've locked you. The last time I said this in class, Obi said for girls. Why for girls? You cannot move. You get it? So we are saying that we are making it difficult for the customer to switch to a competitor. If the customer is switching, he's thinking of all the benefits you can offer him, such that he cannot move, right? So a lock-in strategy can be achieved by giving customer loyalty programs, and also entering into agreements with customers, long-term contracts, giving customers exclusive features, or they having high switching costs, right? So lock-in strategies can help companies retain their customers and reduce the risk of losing market share to competitors, right? So when you go to the exam, they can ask you about what a lock-in strategy is in terms of competitive advantage. I hope that is okay.
Yes, please. Bill, please, a question.
Yes, please.
The lock-in strategy, you see, maybe when you are looking at the...
It's a way to also attain
power...
strategic competitive advantage or to sustain your competitive advantage. We are still under sustainability of competitive advantage. And the ways to sustain competitive advantage, we started with what? The resource and competencies, right? The value chain and those things. We look at marketing mix to sustain. We look at what? Principles of product positioning to sustain. We also look at what? Product positioning strategies to sustain. Then we look at lock-in strategy to sustain a competitive advantage. Okay.
I have a question about the lock-in strategy.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So the lock-in strategy, you see, sometimes just to also reduce the power of your suppliers, you can negotiate some contracts with them so that you fix the price
Okay.
So that it wouldn't, like, over time, they wouldn't sell things to you at a high price. Does it also constitute a lock-in strategy?
To some extent, but lock-in mostly relates to your customers. If you want to relate it to suppliers, then you must make it impossible for your suppliers to want to sell to other people. It's like you are locking the person so that he does not move to another person. You know your supplier can sell to your competitors, right? But what if you give your supplier a sort of contract that makes him always get what? Good bulk purchasing from you, which nobody can get. It means that you have locked your supplier in. So it means that your supplier, even though he wants to sell to someone else in the market, he's only tied to sell to you alone.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Yes, please. Thank you.
So there are also other ways, I get it, that you can sustain competitive advantage, even at the extent of what we call hyper competition. So you may be in an industry where the competition is so strong, but you can still find ways to what? Sustain competitive advantage. And that is what we call hyper competition, an intense and rapidly changing environment. In such conditions, your traditional competitive advantage that you know may erode quickly. And this is where ICA can take you from the point of hyper competition. So companies need to be highly adaptable, innovative, and focus on continuous improvement to survive and thrive in hyper competitive markets. So they can ask you what strategies the company may achieve or the company can implement under hyper competition. And these are the strategies. You can include rapid product development, in terms constant innovation, because the industry is always changing. You can do strategic alliances like joint ventures, licensing, all those things with other people. You can also use aggressive pricing strategies. And as part of what? Attaining competitive advantage or sustaining competitive advantage, you can collaborate with other people. And the ways you can collaborate is through strategic alliances, right? Formal agreements between companies to work together in specific areas such as R&D, marketing, distribution, by leveraging their own strengths, right? You can do joint ventures, 2 or more companies combining resources. You can do licensing and franchising, granting right to use your intellectual property or technology in exchange for royalties or fees, right? You can do supplier partnership. You can do pooled budgets, management teams, outsourcing, having a consortium, cartels. These are all ways of what? Doing collaboration. And collaboration nowadays features every diet as part of your syllabus. Anytime they give you some sort of strategy, like external development strategies like this, like collaboration and those things, it means that they are definitely going to ask you to analyze the advantages and disadvantages or how it benefits or does not benefit a particular company. And last night, they brought collaboration in the form of management teams. Management teams are still outsourcing, right? Shared management teams. But a lot of students, it did not occur to them that it was still outsourcing that they were asking. So they left the question unanswered. So sometimes think about it, management teams, shared management teams. You are sharing management teams. What could be the benefit? It's still outsourcing. True or false? True or false? True.
True.
Yeah. So these were the things we were talking about, right? So your syllabus says that when it comes to method of development, there are things you must understand. You must be able to explain and apply the different strategies for Ansoff. We've done that. Advice on the methods of growth, including both what? Internal or what we call organic growth, and external, which is mergers and acquisition growth strategies. You must summarize how diversification and vertical and horizontal integration operate. Have we not done this? We have, right? We must explain the strategic nature of product portfolio development. We must explain the use of trend analysis, system modeling, and Delphi method as strategic forecasting tools. That means this thing can come as theory, but they'll tell you how can the real estate company use trend analysis, system modeling, and Delphi method as strategic forecasting tools. Meaning you must take each of them and explain what they are for 10 marks. Assess business strategies using the SFA, that's the suitability, feasibility, acceptability model. Consider the ethical and corporate social responsibility influences on strategy selection, and explain the final strategy choice considering formal evaluation, enforced choice, and learning and experience for an organization. So you see, the whole thing is the ICA book. These are not notes, it's my textbook. Actually, it's out of stock anyway. So you see, your internal growth models, anytime you want to grow, it's either you are growing with your own resources or you are growing with someone else's or growing together with someone. So anytime a company wants to grow, in actual sense, the method of growth a company will choose depends on how it wants to grow, right? So if I want to look at growth in general, let me come here. Let me show you. Where is it? Where was I?
Can we look at this again, please?
You said which one?
The one you just flipped out.
I'm coming.
The internal growth.
The internal growth. Where was I? I'm coming. I'm looking for some growth strategy that I laid down. I want to open the overall strategy for you. I'm coming. Strategic choices. You said which one? These ones, the internal growth.
Yes, this one.
So this one, we looked at it already, right? Market penetration.
Not generic. Yeah.
Yes, those ones are the answer, right?
The answer growth model.
Yeah. For all of them, if you are looking at it from the terms of risk, which one carries lower risk? Market penetration. Because that one, we are aware of our product, we are aware of our market. The one that carries medium risk is what? Product development and market development. But the highest risk is diversification. You are going into something you are not aware of. New products you are not aware of. New market you are not aware of, right? Even if they are related, you have not operated there before. So it carries a high risk. So how do you manage this risk? That's where you start thinking TARA, 4T, right? Enterprise Risk Management Framework. Also, so literally, these are the things that you need to know as a student when it comes to strategic case study. Okay, so anytime you want to grow, okay, this is simple. Anytime you want to grow or expand as an organization, right, it's two things. Expand with your own resources. We call it organic growth or internal what development, or expand with someone else. We call that what? External what? Development. And with external development, you can do two things. You can do mergers and acquisitions, or you can do joint development or collaboration with other people. You get the idea? Do you follow? So if you are growing with your own resources, that is where you either do intensification or what? Or what? Diversification. You get it? So if I'm doing organic growth, then I'm doing these things because I have to use my own resources, my own teams, my own management, my own culture, right? But if I'm doing external development, then I'm either doing mergers and acquisition or I'm doing joint development or collaboration with other people. You get it? So those market development, those things that we did answer, is mostly for organic growth. Because if you are developing with somebody, it means that you already have ways you are going to, though you can do these things, but those ones are mostly for joint development strategies or external development strategies. Now, if I want to grow with my own resources, what the question will mostly ask you the advantage and the disadvantage of doing something like this. And in the case, you just have to think, if that real estate company went, are you getting it? It went to acquire another company, should it acquire it or it shouldn't? You can use ratios to check. If the company you're acquiring is not performing very well and its competencies and resources do not agree with yours. Let's say you are a real estate company and you are going to acquire a company that sells maybe fruits and vegetables. You get it? You have to check. So you see, though you are doing internal organic growth, if you are going to acquire a business, you can also use the Ashrid portfolio display to check and see if that business is worthwhile acquiring to add value to. If it's not, you can destroy value. You can comment. You get it? That's how we do case study. So you see internal growth, they can ask you, why do you think the company should not acquire the new company? Because if it decides to grow with its own resources, it can have a better understanding of its market and products. It can be financed easily. It is less risky. There could be economies of scale. It is easier to plan. There are no cultural clashes or control issues. It provides career development opportunities for your managers. It could be cheaper as compared to what? An acquisition. But the disadvantage is what? It may intensify competition. It is too slow because you need enough cash. So if you want to check if the company can pursue an internal growth strategy, take up an investment, go to the balance sheet, check the company's cash position. Does the company have enough cash? The company, does it have enough assets? Check its liabilities. Is it highly geared? You check all these things to tell if the company can pursue what? A particular investment. If it cannot, suggest alternative sources of finance or select what? A mergers and acquisition strategy for the company. So the advantage of organic growth is the disadvantage for what? External growth or mergers and acquisition, right? And then the disadvantage for the other one is the advantage for this. So when you know one, you know the other, right? I hope it's clear. That is it. So the other model that you need to know when you are trying to grow on your own, you go through some stages, right? So you grow and then you face some crisis. So you know everybody when he starts his business, he's an entrepreneur. He's very goal driven. He's very creative. During that period, we call it growth through creativity, where you start up your business, you are the boss and people are under you, right? So just one boss and people under you. You face a crisis of leadership. So from there, you start bringing in more people. No, so then you'll be directing them to work. Now they are leaders to manage. But you realize that all of them are still controlled through you. So what you do is that you face a crisis of autonomy because nobody is on their own managing on their own. You are directing everything. So you say, okay, now I'll delegate authority. So you go to the next phase of growth, which is growth through delegation, when you have delegated authority to people. But then, since you have delegated authority, still, there's no control because everybody seems to be working on its own, right? So you face a crisis of control. And this is where you start to implement functional departments. And then once you implement functional department, information travels slowly. And that brings a crisis of red tapeism. So you see, at every point of growth in an organization, when you want to grow on your own, there's a crisis you need to deal with, right? But when you grow through collaboration, any crisis can occur. But the chances of a crisis occurring is low compared to when you are growing on your own. Do you get it? And that's what the Greenest Growth Model talks about. So in a case, how would you use this? It means that you are going to assess where the organization has gotten to, one, and tell us which stage of growth he is. Two, tell us what crisis it is likely to face or face in. Three, and finally, give a recommendation on the appropriate organizational structure to use. Four. That's how we use Greenest Growth Model. And it can come anytime. We've been waiting for this. It has never showed up. What if it shows up this like nobody knows? Just be prepared. That's what I keep telling people. The models are not difficult. Just be prepared. Any question?
Yes, please. Can you
Yes.
repeat what you just said concerning the, what
You said?
you have to do? At some point, you said you need to recommend the appropriate
Organizational
structure.
structure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like
of
the
course.
pointers that you
So you
just
see,
gave
in the
out.
earlier years of the organization, like growth through creativity, right? It is just an entrepreneur and his staff. So it's the entrepreneurial structure. Growth through direction, you are still growing, right? You can adopt the entrepreneurial structure or a little bit of some small functional department, right? As you grow more, the functional department become too small. So you start going for what? Delegation, right? You can use a matrix structure if it's more projectized organization, and you can use divisional structure because you need divisions to delegate to. As you grow, you can go for more of a geographical structure or a multifaceted organization also, and so on and so forth. But during the earlier years, it's between entrepreneurial and then what? Functional structure, where there's just the CEO, the board, the CEO, and the different departments, right? As you grow and you delegate, now those different departments will be in one part of the organization as a whole division, and then you divisionalize. Rina, are you okay?
Yes, please.
So
Thank you.
each of the particular areas of the Greenest Growth Model also feature a particular what? This thing that you have to go to, right? So that is it. Basically, when it comes to competitive advantage and corporate strategies, these are the things that are there. For functional strategies, you are looking at strategies for HR, R&D, production, finance, IT, and marketing, right? Those are your functional strategies. Now, before you even go and look at the pre-seen case, make sure that these functional strategies are on your fingertips together with, what do we call it? Culture, structure, performance, which is the balance scorecard, building block model, and performance pyramid, right? Those areas, functional implementation of strategy, it should be on your fingertips like something. If you know these areas, and trust me, you won't go to case study and struggle because every night, I said that the crisis there is unknown. The reason why the crisis at the collaboration stage is unknown is that the person you are going to collaborate with, you do not know what crisis he is also facing. That's why they put question mark there, right? That means any crisis could occur because at that point, you are thinking about collaborating. Please, is it okay to everyone?